Thank you so much for being here. This is another 3 p.m. Onionhead Andrew, how to overcome directed energy weapon attacks class. And today I just got a little bit of review and then just an interesting Twitter conversation I had with somebody. So I really don't have much prepared, and then we'll get into the Q&As. As you know, we teach the paradigm here, how to overcome directed energy weapons. What is the paradigm? It's the initial phase is 3 steps, and it's 1, building and utilizing a DIY EMP stun gun or DIY EMP car ignition coil. You can find either of those videos on Rumble, YouTube, or Substack under Onionhead Andrew. If you go to YouTube in the DIY playlist, it's the easiest to find those how to build those car ignition coils. Ruth, as far as you hearing that, I think that's on your end, because if go ahead, Sandy, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, and thank you, Sandy. And then of course, your co-host right now. And then the second step of how to overcome directed energy weapons is building and utilizing wearables, wearables that either create electricity, dampen sound attacks, or ground. Okay, and then there's a reason for that, of course. I'll get into that in a second. The third step is detoxing nanomachinery, because you breathe this stuff in, you eat it, it accrues in your body, and as you do the first and the second step, it needs to be consciously detoxed out of your body through sweating and pooping and peeing primarily. To the wearables, there's basically 3 types of wearables, and that's what I was saying earlier. This is like the idea behind the wearables is you're either creating electricity using the electric wire, which I don't have on me right now, 2 different types of metals twisted together and to put into various objects like this cup or something like that. This cup, if you put the electric wire in, would bounce it around and cause it to amplify, to kind of, cause it to project more accurately. So 1, utilizing electricity to go after the nanomachinery. 2, using various sound dampening methods and that's one I'm working on right now. I wish I could tell you guys more materials, cheap materials, easy to find materials that work highly efficiently, but I'm working on that right now. But anyways, you dampen sound to stop the nanomachinery from being activated. The nanomachinery is activated through sound. And the third group of wearables is grounding or neutralizing material. And that basically takes the electricity away and brings it to kind of a rest. The directed energy weapons interacting with the nanomachinery. So that's basically the old stuff where we were using electrostatic and magnetic fields to neutralize the attacks. And then also some new stuff that I'm still working on. I'm always working on stuff. It's hard to know when to present, because I want it to be as solid and cheap and easy as possible for people to do, so people actually do it. But yes, there's many things in the works that I'm working on right now that are pretty far along, but just not far enough along. Okay, so that was the paradigm. That was the first thing we went over. The second thing we went over was the wearables, the 3 different types of wearables: electrical, sounding, or electric wearables, create a little bit of electricity, sound dampening wearables that I'm still working on. So if anybody wants to, share with me some of the things that they've used to dampen the sound attacks, that would be great. And then third, the grounding tools or neutralizing tools, which is like creating those electrostatic fields with the layered saran wrap and metal tape, putting magnets in polarity versus reverse polarity, taking basic copper wire, wrapping it around you, and then, like, for example, putting clay on. Like bentonite clay is neutral. Dirt in general is neutral, mostly. Water is neutral. So those are some of the materials that have a neutral place that can be utilized for a grounding effect. Okay, I just summed that up real quickly. There's more to it than that, of course. The third thing, this is all review just so you can log this away. The third thing is, how does this all work together? I've talked about directed energy weapons just in these explanations. I've talked about using EMPs, and I've talked about nanomachinery. How does that all work? Well, there's implants, there's nanomachinery, and there's directed energy weapons. There's more than that, but that's pretty much the three legs that hold this thing up. And implants are the easiest to deal with. You literally just need to get that electromagnetic pulse device to get rid of them. But what the implants do is they work to convert one form of energy into another form of energy in your body to basically make the nanomachinery more effective. Now, if the implants aren't there, they can still target you, but it's much, much harder for them to automate it, which is where you want to be. You don't want them to have complete access to your body and there's nothing you can do. Well, very little. That's not true. You just don't want them to operate at that effectiveness. So implants are ordering the nanomachinery. The nanomachinery is creating conductive pathways throughout your body. Okay, and it does that through a 5-6 step method of pioneering. Okay, like pioneering. What is pioneering? Well, it's like the old pioneers of the West. It's venturing into new lands. The new lands are your body. Okay, so how does the nanomachinery create conductive pathways? And what is conductive? Conductive is metal or metal-like apparatuses that conduct electricity, magnetism, and electrostaticism. And what electricity is magnetic and electrostatic working together. Okay, so conductive means it carries those energies. So that's what nanomachinery is doing. It's basically making what they call nanowires throughout your body, what I call chains of polymers, okay? Because that's literally what it is. It's polymer-based synthetic biology, which means it's been designed by biologists in the lab for living organisms to carry certain DNA packets or plasmid packets to unfold in your body at certain times to grow certain structures and that also accumulate things that are in the blood supply to build those more effectively. Okay, so that's the nanomachinery. It's creating conductive pathways, and it's going from implant to implant if the implants are still active in you. Once there is a solid clump, like, I don't know, this size, give or take, a quarter, a dime, something like that, of this nanoparticulate underneath the skin, you can literally be physically locked onto with these laser pulsing devices. That's primarily what it is. It's lasers, and they got so many dual use. Like LiDAR, I know, is a dual use they used to use on me. I know that for a variety of reasons. It's hard to get into, but I don't know all the dual uses, but I know there's plenty of reasons for these lasers to be out in public, to use them not to target people, but they're also used to target people. And basically, it's through the pulsing of that laser, it creates either a magnetic predominant effect or an electrostatic predominant effect. And then when it interacts with your body, it creates that electric effect where it's both magnetic. So the magnetic either comes from the dew or various elements happening in your body. It's kind of complicated to get into right off the top of my head. I got to think about how to simplify that. Or the electricity comes from the electrostatic from the dew, and then the magnetic from the body. So it's one or the other, and they can flip that polarity. But basically, when it mixes in your body, it creates the electric effect. And that electric effect is sent through the conductive pathways of nanomachinery to cause what you commonly refer to as being a targeted individual. Okay? What I refer to as neuroweapons human trafficking, because that's what it is. And you all should adopt that term, because that's an accurate description of what's happening in your life. Targeted individual is not. Many people are targeted over many different things by the federal government and of every country through various means. It's not all neuroweapons for everyone in the world that's targeted. Some people are attacked with chemical weapons. But If you are experiencing directed energy weapons, then you've got the nanomachinery in you, because everybody's got the nanomachinery in them. So actually, let me take a step back. If you're targeted by any government, whether domestic or foreign, then you're most likely experiencing this neuroweapons human trafficking. Okay, so how does that happen? How does that process happen in the body? Well, first you ingest the nano in the food, air, and water, nanomachinery. Synthetic biology, nanomachinery to be most accurate. Synthetic biology is the internal components of the nanomachinery. It's machinery, obviously. It performs a task, a role, and it starts off either in the large nano size or the small micro size. And if you want validation of that, if you want proof, scientific evidence, whatnot, carnicominstitute.org. Do yourself a favor and go through his articles for the last 7-8 years. He's been archiving his research for the last 25 years. It's a fantastic website. It proves beyond a doubt the trifecta of nanomachinery, directed energy weapons, and synthetic biology. Okay, that those three components play a pivotal role. Right, his realm isn't in the targeted individuals. His realm is he experienced Morgellons back in like I don't remember the first time he had symptoms, 1998. It's like literally one of the first people alive to experience that. When what is Morgellons? Morgellons is nanomachinery. Okay, so if you've got Morgellons, you've got nanomachinery with other things in your environment like nanobots. So back to how it pioneers the body. The first step is you ingest the nano. It's in the food, the air, and the water. That's for everyone. Everyone in Western society has got this in them. No one is free of it. Okay, not a single person that I'm aware of. You live way out in the country, they're chemtrailing you out there. You eat at the grocery store, it's in the food there. God forbid you eat the fast food, it's heavily inundated in that. Not only that, but there's various metals that are usually worked in combination with those synthetic biology nanomachinery particulates, what people refer to as smart dust or neural dust, or even smart filaments. Sometimes it comes in a filament form. So number one, you ingest it. Number two, sound turns it on. The sound can be directly beamed at you, which is the case if you're experiencing neuroweapons human trafficking. And if you're not, it can be utilized through various electronics in your environment. Computers, TVs, smartphones, light poles, geez, you name it. They've put these ultrasonic weapon systems on so many things that you would not suspect. And they've actually incorporated it into the machinery itself. So just by turning it on, it's producing a very low ultrasonic or very high sound, some 25,000, something like that, 29,000, I don't know. There's so many different integers of sound Hertzian frequencies that turn the nanomachinery on. But they've incorporated into electronics if you're not actively targeted. So the general public's got this going on too. So 2, sound turns it on. 1, you ingest it. 2, sound turns it on. 3, when the nanomachinery is turned on, it starts to form clumps. As it forms, that's 3, it forms a clump. Like I said, nickel, quarter, dime, $half. It grows and grows and grows. That's without the implants there. If the implants are there, the same process happens, but at each of the implants that's being pinged, okay? From as that clump forms, the 4th step is EMF interacts with that process, electromagnetic fields, and speed it up even more. As it's sped up, it forms, number 5, long chains throughout your body. These long chains are these polymer highways, these conductive pathways. These conductive pathways will go all the way from your feet to the top of your head and all the way through your organ sac if you're completely inundated. And most targets, most survivors of neuroweapons human trafficking are completely inundated because they've done nothing to address the root of their issue, which is the nanomachinery interacting with the directed energy weapons. as that forms, or because it's a continual process, it breaks apart, it needs to be reformed on a continual basis from 24-hour periods. By the way, this is why when you're experiencing neural weapons human trafficking, you're experiencing 3 shifts of people working, because they need to maintain this. And the number one way they maintain the nanomachinery chains in your body is by releasing smart dust and heavy metal particulates and synthetic heavy metal particulates like pesticides and herbicides around you. And if you think that that's not happening to you, I would caution you, and I would say evaluate your sewer system, okay? Because for the people that don't understand what's happening in their environment, the aerosols, it's usually because their sewers are being utilized. Once they start using cars, once they start using the drifting it outside around your house or your apartment or through the walls of your apartment, it gets to be pretty obvious, and this conversation becomes moot. I don't need to convince people. But for a lot of people, they say, oh, I don't know what you're talking about with these aerosols. Check out your sewers, put your face over the sewers, and breathe in, and you will get symptoms immediately. And then you'll know I'm not lying to you. The easiest way to deal with that, by the way, is to cover the drains with stoppers or just block them in general. So it's very easy once you realize it's coming from the sewers, but then they switch it up. They start, running cars, idling cars by you, releasing it in huge chemical drifts from the neighbors. That was me literally pointing at the people that's doing it. I know the people that's doing it. I knew the second day I got here to this house, the people that was doing it, because they were drifting huge amounts of chemical in the air. And I was seeing it rustle the trees and everything to get to me, because they use weather weapons to guide it. Okay? So the same weather weapon system that creates storms and hurricanes and all that, tornadoes, is also guiding these chemtrail-like aerosols in your environment, and also potentially interacting with your body and guiding it in your body, okay? Because that's another part of this. So once those long chains have been established in that continual basis, then they're looking for advanced outcomes. What are these advanced outcomes usually? Heart disease, brain disease, kidney, liver failure, pancreas, spleen. The big ones are probably heart, brain, kidney, liver. Stroke, that's another big one they do go for too. Outside of the medical conditions they're going for, they're looking to make patsies, okay? So one of the main things they're doing is they're always looking to make patsies. All these, well, not all of them, but most of these school shooters you see have a neural weapons human trafficking story. They just, of course, were too young, inexperienced, didn't understand what was going on around them to accurately decipher that before they became influenced in a honeypot dragnet operation. And then most of the time, those people don't even do it to shoot up the schools. Most of the time, they plan to, and that's enough. They get pulled out at that situation. They get kidnapped, drugged with scopolamine, whatever, get knocked out, and some NSA black flag contractors or Israeli deep, something like that. Some of these super soldier groups, they're out there, men in black type groups. That's what the NSA contractors are. They get in there and they shoot up the school, and then they bring back the kidnappee and they set him at the crime scene. That's usually how that operates. But most of those people are neural weapons, human trafficking survivors. So anyways, that's, and they've got the nanomachinery, they've got the directed energy weapons, putting them in an inflamed state, a hypnotized state, and through suggestion over time, fake friends, the greater federal, what is that called? What are those called? Spook, but it's not a spook, it's where you pretend to be something you're not. It's not a shill either, it's like just fake people that set up these patsies. There's lots and lots and lots of them out there. But anyways, that's the three. If you guys could learn anything from anything, what's that?
NPC or something?
Oh, non-player character.
After.
I'm about to call you the B word again.
Leave me alone.
That's okay, boomer for everyone that doesn't know. No, it's not NPCs, Sandy. But that's a totally different idea. I'll explain to you some other time. Those are the three main things I would want you to take away from everything that we do here. And that's how to overcome directed energy weapons, the three-step process I talked about at the beginning, building the EMP, building the wearables, and detoxing the nano. Again, the EMP is for the implants, the wearables is for the do, and the detoxing is for the nano that gets built up in our body. The second thing that I presented today would be understanding that you can build wearables that produce a little bit of electricity. You can build wearables that dampen sound, and you can build wearables that neutralize the directed energy weapons or ground them, however you want to say that. And then the third thing that I presented today that I would like you guys to really incorporate in your life and work with and understand more is how the nanomachinery actually invades your body and creates these nanowires and these chains throughout your body that directed energy weapons are accessing. Okay, so that's all review. I'm going to have to keep reviewing it forever because it needs to be reviewed forever. This is a huge, probably the singular, maybe the biggest issue in the world right now. I take that a step back because then I was thinking about the spiritual aspect of what's happening. That's definitely bigger. Outside of that, in the earthly realm, this is the biggest thing that's affecting the most amount of people right now. Not the directed energy weapons necessarily, but the nanomachinery. And then to a lesser extent, the undirected energy weapons, right? So we talk about directed energy weapons all the time, but there is a grid that we exist in of undirected energy weapons. So I'd say the biggest issue, or one of the biggest issues in the world right now, is nanomachinery interfacing with undirected energy weapons. And that's causing a mass kill-off that we're going through. Right? And we've been going through now since that little fake thing happened out of China a few years ago. And that fake thing, there was a real aspect of it. And it was all about integrating nanomachinery with various electronics communication grid for the undirected energy weapon aspect of this greater agenda, which people call Agenda 2030 or the New World Order, or which is how it's supposed to bring about a New World Order, or what they call it, the people that are doing it, is the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And what Klaus Schwab specifically said about it was that this revolution, this new technology, it's not going to be about what you use, what's around you. It's going to be about what's in you. Okay, so they'll do everything but tell you implicitly what they've done, right? They'll tell you everything but the nanomachinery that's in you. They'll tell you the direct energy.
Can I ask you a question right there before you go further? Do you think that this machinery that you're talking about, is it altering DNA?
There is an aspect of that, yeah, of course. A lot of the technology they're working on with the mRNA alone, and that's publicized, is about modifying your DNA so that it produces the components for the nanomachinery in vivo, and so you don't need to keep ingesting it. Because ultimately, they're going to get caught. So the quicker that they can make transgenic infections, the better off everything's going to be for them. They're putting it in the food supply and the air right now, primarily, and that's overall, that's not ideal. So yeah, they're trying to modify people's DNA with primarily the CRISPR-Cas9 tech. A lot of that mosquito conversation is kind of proof of it too. They modified the plasmids in the mosquitoes, which a plasmid is like a DNA chain, but it's not a chain, it's a loop. They modified those plasmids to carry synthetic biology. And they told everyone that. Now, the lie is what the synthetic biology is holding. They said that the synthetic biology is so that when the mosquitoes reproduce, it makes their offspring infertile. That's not what they're doing. That might have an element of truth to it, but that's not what they're doing. What they're doing is they're encoding it for basically the same sort of things that was in those medical interventions a few years ago. So there definitely is. I mean, that's publicly stated, everything besides that last nanomachinery piece that I put in there. That's publicly stated information. They will not tell you the final piece because, of course, the final piece implements them and crimes against humanity, and which would cause a total collapse of every government involved in it, which is almost every government on the face of this planet. There's only a few that aren't. And the few that aren't are totally inundated with Israelis pretending to be, vacationers and business owners in those places. Or Americans or Chinese or Russians. It's one of the four, though. There's so many American military people involved in this, three-letter agency people and their families. There are but it's happening to them too. So it's kind of crazy how stupid it is. But the whole country of Israel is heavily into all of this. Pretty much, there's very few people in Israel that don't have a decent idea of what's going on right now. I wouldn't say the full picture, but a decent idea, more than anybody else, really. The Russian old guard, the ones that held power, and the families that held power during the Soviet times, are still operating in Russia right now. They've just taken on a new face. They're the ones, by the way, they're the ones behind Israel right now too. Israel and Russia are linked together arm in arm. They have been since its inception, as is the British nobility. The British nobility and Israel are also linked together. So that should show you, this whole Russia, China, Brazil, Brazil, Russia, India, that whole BRICS thing is total bullcrap. They're all working together to develop the, quote, fourth industrial revolution. And yes, one of the things they're doing is they're trying to modify people's DNA. They're also trying to interact with people's DNA using light, okay? Optogenetics. And the idea with that is that they haven't been able to, though. It's very, very ineffective. The reason I know that is because they publicize their work. The DARPA and IARPA and NIH, or basically DARPA, this is before IARPA, could only take it so far. And it's not just them. It was the Naval Research Laboratories. There's two, I can't remember where they're at, and the Air Force Research Laboratory. Anyways, they were working to develop a lot of that stuff, the optogenetics, the DNA affecting technologies. And I'm glad you asked about this, Kate, because I was just about to talk about this. And they only can get so far with the military apparatus. And that's because the nature of the military apparatus. You've got to think about who's a scientist there. It's not that they're dumb. It's that they're established and, I would say, for lack of a better term, set in their ways. This just generally speaking of any hierarchy, right? These people that run the Air Force Research Laboratory, which is heavy behind a lot of this, as was DARPA. They can only go so far because they're like colonels. It's not because they're colonels, it's because of the nature of them becoming colonels. And not only that, but you just need so much brain power to get through these problems. They're more or less infinite when you're trying to do something like this. So there always gets to a point in their research where they go, we need the public universities' help. They needed that with rail guns. They needed that with nuclear weapons to a large extent. They always.
Can I introduce something, Andrew?
Yeah, go ahead.
These farms. These data farms. Apparently, that's what the data farms are actually for, to produce that power that they do need to go the next step, to start actually interacting with neurons in the brain, with the actual spin of the tubulin dimers that operate neurons in the brain.
Well, they're going to need such a mass amount. That makes perfect sense. They're going to need such a mass amount of computing power to do this to a group of people, right? They've pretty much maxed out what they've got doing it to us, as far as I can tell. I don't know, though, because if they hadn't, there would be a lot more targets, because this is the thing that they like to do the most. is try to make people into slaves unwillingly at that cellular level. So if they could, they would have way more people listed under neural weapons human trafficking. But that should tell you, though, how important the research that they're deriving from your torture is. Okay, why there's infinite money being thrown at this right now. But where was I? So I do think you're right, but I don't know much more than that. It's just a thought right now. The optogenetics they only took so far before they gave it to the universities. And if you want to look at this yourself, look up NIH, National Institute of Health, the Brain Initiative, and you can see the big players in it, right? At the university level, which it's not completely public, but it's public enough to get a grasp of what they're doing. Okay, there's a concentrated effort to make sure that you don't understand that directed energy weapons are interfacing with nanomachinery to cause these outcomes in your body. That's the one big thing they really don't want the public to grasp. Because when you grasp that, it becomes a much more simple problem. And as of right now, it's a very complicated problem. Because you're looking at the networking, you're looking at laws and politicians and military apparatuses going, how can I do anything about it? Right? But you don't need to look at all those things right now. You can if you want, for sure. But if you address your body and the way that they can access the tissue of your body, which is through this nanomachinery, you'll get so much farther, right? So much farther than doing any of that networking research, although that can be important. Okay, so with that being said, that's about all the information I had ready to present today. If anybody wants to talk, comment on anything, or ask me questions about what we've gone over, or just anything in general, go ahead. Now's the time.
Hey, buddy, help me out. What are undirected energy weapons? Wouldn't that just be just a general antenna?
Okay, so it's more of an idea that I'm presenting than any given thing, but an undirected energy weapon would be like the radio frequency that blankets everywhere all the time, the UHF, the V8, ultra low frequencies, ultra high frequencies. I can't remember all the different, but there's been since 1910 or something a further densification of electromagnetic fields in our environment. Those electromagnetic fields are ambient white noise. Right? We all exist in them all day, every day, more or less. The people that have been building the nanomachinery and the directed energy weapons are utilizing those fields. For example, your house is 120 volt at 60 hertz. All right, that can be utilized against you. In fact, many people on this call right now have told me, and I've done it myself, that you turn off your power to your house, you shut off the main, and you get some relief. Well, why is that? It's because the 120 volt alternating current at 60 hertz is being used as a carrier for ultrasound and sound waves. That's what I know of as of right now. I'm sure there's more to it than that. But as of right now, I do know that it's a carrier.
All right, excellent. All right, yeah, that's a good question. All right, thank you. Thanks for answering.
You're welcome. Yeah, undirected is more of an idea. It's like they're building these things. All these things weren't necessarily built to toxify us, but they're going to be dual-use weapons. You know, like everything's a dual use. They have to do it like that because there comes to a point where it has to be implemented in the public, right? Well, it doesn't have to be, but they want it so badly. When they implement in the public, it has to have, because it's going to be public, it has to have some serviceable role in our society. You know, for example, like the ultra low frequency, ultra UHF, VLF stuff, they installed that, the military installed that in the 30s. And that was for what they said was communications, right? But it hasn't been utilized for communications, as far as I know, you know, publicly since, I don't know, like the 80s or something. Yet the grid of ultra low frequency, very low frequency is still up. So what are they utilizing it for? Well, many people talk about VLF, ULF, that's ultra low frequency, very low frequency. being utilized in conjunction, with the GWIN stations, the weather stations, the weather radar stations, to create weather effects. Now, how does that work? They release the aerosols, which are the same aerosols or similar aerosols that are being released around you. They've got the neural dust in them. They've got the heavy metals in them. They've got the synthetic heavy metals in them. They release them in mass over an area, a wide area of the country, of the world at any given time. And then they use all these various, GWIN being a weather station, communication station with the VHF and the UHF and all that, to cause that magnetic particulate, or that particulate that can be magneticized, to move in ways that will create various weather fronts. Now, most of us at this period know this is going on, right? But we don't put it all together. So in this case, the biggest undirected energy weapon that we experience on the regular is the weather control, weather weapons, aerosol, particulate thing. Now, that same weapon system, when it's aimed at us, more or less, is directed energy. I mean, so literally you're just aimed at the sky, it's undirected, aimed at you, it's directed. But all the time it's being more or less consciously used. And then there's the other stuff, like the 120 volt, 60 hertz that's being utilized by the other weapons to further themselves, right? And that was, I don't think 120 volts at 60 hertz was designed to be a weapon, although it could be another dual-use weapon. Who knows? I don't know.
Right. Okay. Wow. So basically, the UHF technologies from the 1930s will come back, and you think like 7G or 8G, possibly?
No, they never went away. I'll look it up right now. UHF, or was it VLF? I can't remember what the first one was, but it was from the 30s.
UHF. Yeah. I've heard your other stuff too, and I know that you said UHF, ULF, VHF, ULF, UVHF, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think it goes ELF, SLF, ULF, VLF, LF, MF, HF, VHF, UHF. I've heard that the ULF and the I think the ULF was the first one, but I'll have to look that up. Off the top of my head, I cannot remember when that was utilized, but it never went away. ULF, first use in public. Looking, World War I, 1920s.
Andrew, can I make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you ever seen a video with Lucille Ball? She was talking about, like, I think around World War II, and she was actually having like voices coming in at her. And they said it was her teeth. Did you see that? Did you see that video?
No, I haven't, but it was widely talked about when a lot of these frequencies were being turned on, that people were hearing them resonate with their bones.
I heard that. I heard that interview.
Yeah, and that was like, when did she say that happened? Like around World War II, I think.
And you're not a boomer. It was around the 60s.
Oh, yeah.
And she said that she could hear a radio station. She was driving somewhere, and she could hear this radio station, and she couldn't understand why. And then somebody that's involved with radio told her that what was happening is that her feelings were picking the transmission, and that's why and the audience was just laughing at her, and she was serious. She was actually serious. But,
I remember even when I was growing up, which was well after that it was being utilized, or I mean that people that had certain braces configuration where it was humming every now and then with radio interference. It was widely talked about. But anyways, yeah, this whole agenda has been going on for a long time. The difference between now and then is primarily the directed nature of it. With the nanomachinery present, it's allowed these smart metals, heavy metals to stick to people versus before you would eat it in the food supply and then you would evacuate it through your poop and pee like normal.
Hey, Andrew, I came on a little bit late, and I don't know if you covered this yet, but have you talked to anybody who's been inhaling all of this so-called forest fire smoke from Canada? It was really, really toxic. And I live right in the heavy part of, Pittsburgh area, so it was very, very plastic smelling. And we were way above hazard with the particulates. But I had an experience because this was yesterday and the day before. I put my wearables on. The wearables I made with the magnets and the copper spin on my fingers, and I put one for my wrist too. And I was wearing them the night of where we had the smoke all day long, inhaling it. And my fingers, and I never had this happen because I wear my wearables a lot, and they swelled up and was painful. So I'm thinking that there was a lot of magnetic, something that, the magnetics was causing them to, I had to take them off because it was really it was hurting.
Oh, no, I can tell you exactly what was happening. There was so much in your lungs and in your blood that it was being deactivated in that space like normal, but because there was so much, it was clumping. And it was clumping really, really bad. And so it was causing the swelling. All right, yeah, it's a good thing you took it off because you could have gave yourself a clot.
Wow.
So be very careful. If that never, I've been totally attacked really, really bad and had that happen where it was just a little bit swollen. So I didn't think I had to mention it to people, but yeah. If your fingers swell and you're wearing those magnetic rings, you got to take them off like that. Yeah, because you'll give yourself a clot.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I've talked to you before. I told you how much I've been detoxing, fasting, getting in the infrared sauna, and just and I felt like I had really did such a good job because I wasn't feeling a lot of stuff anymore other than the ringing in the ears. When I go out on the road, they hit me with something that makes my ears scream. But now I feel like I'm overloaded. I'm not, I have to kind of start all over again. The particulates were terrible, and now they sent this horrible storm to just kind of bring it all down on us now.
Well,
this was not a natural storm coming from the north.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Is that you've got all of this down and around you. So you're just breathing lots and lots and lots of it, right? So it's not that and by the way, when you're doing any of this stuff, it's not a one and done thing. It's a perpetual, you got to always be thinking about it and doing it more or less until the targeting ends. But there's so much particulate that gets trapped, the chemtrail particulate, it gets trapped in the wood of those trees. And that's why those trees are exploding and causing all these forest fires. Mm-hmm. Everywhere in the world, there's forest fires in places they've never seen. I was a wildland firefighter myself when I was targeted. And I remember talking to the AFMO of the Ranger District that I was a part of. That's the active fire manager. And he was saying that, and this is something I heard over and over and over from the old timers, that the fire weather had never been like that ever, where they would see a max of 30-foot flame lengths, something like that. They were seeing trees blow up at 300-foot flame lengths. Yeah, just crazy, crazy stuff. But I later came to realize how that was all happening. It wasn't my research; it was somebody else. It was so long ago that I can't source it. And what they found is that in the wood of the tree itself were these nano heavy metal particulates. And when the fire eventually interacts with it, it more or less causes the fibers of the wood to blow up.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes it creates that bigger explosion, but most of the time it's a very small explosion is not even the right word, but separation of the fibers that are causing these rapid anyways. So when you're in the smoke of that, what you're experiencing is, 10 years of stored chemtrails being dumped on you. And then not only that, but the hot air itself is easier for the magnetic directed energy weapons to guide the particulate. So you've probably been experiencing really raspy throat. Yeah. Mouth and nose too, right?
Like, if you remember the East Palestine train burn, that was south of me about 10 miles. And this forest fire, whatever they call it a forest fire, I think there's way more to it than that, with all these vinyl smells and everything in the air. But so in between me, south of me and north of me with the fires, which these fires were far worse than that train burn. The rabbits are dying, all of the ecosystem, we're finding deer dead and they're not decomposing like normal, like their eyes aren't decomposing like they would normally in a day. Their eyes would be gone, but things aren't decomposing, and the chickens have died, the rabbits have died just because they're real sensitive with the respiratory. But this forest fire was worse than train burn. The train burn was really bad. A lot of people went to the hospital with respiratory issues. And I'm wondering if the fact that the Great Lakes are in between there, if that has something to do with these AI centers. I don't know if you knew Donald Trump came to the area because they want to make Pennsylvania an AI hub. And I have a feeling that all these particulates and putting heavy metals into us and the AI centers and our targeting and trying to enslave humanity is all just interconnected.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. It's part of that fourth industrial revolution. And there's so many different managers of it, Like there's literally people in the Air Force that are determining how much chemtrail is dumped on these forests over how much time. And then there's literal, FBI contractors or whatever, DHS contractors or subcontractors. Basically, they hire Lockheed Martin or Northrop Grumman or Booz Allen Hamilton, and then they hire basically thugs. Then there's thugs are going out there starting the fires.
I believe that.
In Argentina, they caught the Israelis actively starting those fires. Same exact thing. And they're utilizing, but it's a little bit different. They're utilizing that space for like a little Israel enclave. But the little Israel they want to build there, what do you think is going to happen? Brain-computer interfacing data center, tech, all that stuff, because that's like the main, one of the main, if not the main industry of Israel, is that neural brain tech. But either way, it's the same thing. Yeah.
I saw an article just a couple of days ago that they are now, the Israelis are have joined, like giving training to our police force.
Oh yeah, that's been going on since 2002.
So I'm really concerned about a communist takeover here, and I know what the Israelis are capable of. It's pretty terrible.
Well, it's our government though, really. The Israelis are just another task force that can be assigned to do what the people that are running our government, the people behind them, the corporate families, the dual national, trinational people. Israelis are just another tool utilized by them. They operate at a similar level as our deep state. So they've been training the police since the Patriot Act, which is ironic because Israelis were involved with 9/11 and the creation of the Patriot Act. But here we go. We're in this. Yeah, you're welcome. We're in this phase where people are learning, so at least we're learning. It's good hearing from you, Tina. Sorry you're going through that. Hey, before you go, ozone machines help tremendously. They tell you that you shouldn't breathe them. In my experience, it's slightly irritating, but that's it.
Hey,
ozone binds those particulates. And then charcoal.
That helped a lot. We did our entire house yesterday, and
okay.
It made a big difference. Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, and then Sorry,
I'm
go
going
ahead.
to try wearing my rings tonight, and hopefully, no more swelling. And I still got to do some more infrared sweatiness. That's the best way to get it out, is the sweating.
Yeah.
Your skin, your integumentary system it's better than all the chlorophyll and all the plants you can eat.
Yeah.
So it's just really hard in this heat to want to get in there, but I'm going to have to do it. But thanks a lot, Andrew.
You're welcome. The chlorophyll, I've noticed, because you've got this background, you'll appreciate this, breaks apart the plaques on the inside. That's where I've noticed that really, really helps. But so does fasting.
Mm-hmm.
And about the third day of fasting, nothing beats that. If you can make it 3 days. Yeah.
I've done 2.5 days of dry fasting. That was rough.
It's crazy, though.
The whole 3 days, but that was rough.
Did your pee? It's crazy how much comes out at that phase.
Yeah.
Like you literally feel like tighter, like your whole body just starts to tighten.
And you feel good. You mentally feel, you get your energy back, and it's just hard to be disciplined and keep doing it. But,
well, and then you eat your first piece of food, and all the symptoms come back of the dews. It's crazy.
I'll tell you, though, that weird twitching from this nanotech building, these little machines inside you, and you get that weird twitching. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
After a fast, that all disappears.
Yeah, salt really helps draw it out in a hot bath. And it's the pulsing it's not it forming, it's the directed energy weapons pulsing it, because they'll try to make that clump, and then they'll try to get your muscles to contract on that clump to help spread it, proliferate throughout the body.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, make some more electric wire. And start experimenting more with that, not just on the magnetic rings, but on your body without the magnets, in case you need that, in the future.
So I made like a belt, a really long one, where I could wrap it around my abdomen like 3 times, no magnets. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Great job.
Okay. Yeah. All right, I got one. I'll just have to put it on.
I wear it most of the time. And then when I use my other wearable stuff, it will have an effect. But they'll record that wire, that frequency that's being emitted through. You weren't here that week. I don't know if you saw that, but you should go back and watch it, where I talk about the backscattering, how they're getting the data off the Nanomachinery. I think it was last week's call.
Yeah. Okay. I was in Ocean City.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, live your life. As much as you can. The backscattering is like basically when the Nanomachinery fails, or maybe not even fails, but when it's like alive or dead or whatever, it's producing like a little bit of a signature of a frequency, more or less, that can be measured more or less. There's more to it than that. That's the idea, though. And if you wear the wire on you, or keep the ring on you for any amount of time, they're going to be able eventually to record that data and use it as an anti-resonance. So basically pulse their weapons at a certain state to neutralize your wearable. Okay, so when you wear the wire on you all the time, they have to be balancing the wire, right? They got to be playing that anti-resonance back to your midsection to neutralize the wire's effect. Well, if you put a magnet near that wire, all of a sudden you're producing a new resonance, right? Or say if you put your hands crossed on your stomach, like I don't know.
Yeah, with the magnets on your fingers.
Oh, maybe even not the magnets on your fingers, because now the electricity is moving through your hands and completing new circuits, right? And that's got a different resonance. So just simply crossing your arms and touching that wire on your stomach will have an effect.
Oh, okay. So I can just keep moving around, and
they
can't really get it.
Well, they will. It's harder for them. Yeah. You do a few things at once, mix and match. And then the last thing I wanted to say to you before you go is charcoal. Okay, charcoal cleans the air really, really well. I haven't figured out a way myself to do it as easily as possible, but if you can put charcoal in a bucket and pull air through it, if you're handy or if someone you know is handy, Look up DIY charcoal fan on YouTube.
Charcoal
And you'll
fan?
fan.
F-A-N?
Yep. And you'll see a
Okay.
few different ideas of things you can build utilizing like a charcoal bucket.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, a bucket with charcoal in it is what I mean.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just love you, Andrew. I'm going to have to get online and send you another gift.
Oh,
you're a good guy doing this for no charge, and you're really good trying to get the truth out there. And you're, like I said, you're the only one I listen to. I think all the rest of them are a waste of time, and I don't have time to waste.
Yeah, I know what you mean about the waste of time, but there's a few other ones out there that are legit. But I appreciate any donations, of course, and but I gotta be honest, I don't do this just out of the kindness of my heart. I do this because I want us to be free, and the path for my freedom is the same path as your freedom, and we can't do it one of us alone. We need to do this as a group. We need to break out as a group.
That's true.
Yeah.
So this, although it seems like it's purely altruistic, it's not. I definitely want to be free of this.
Yep. I think some people started out right, but I don't know what happened to them. They got bought out or something, and they give some good information, but there's a lot of lies in their information too now. And I'm speaking of the leading people. And
yeah.
No.
I'm not going to name names because they sue, but I will say this is that if you have a big nonprofit that's out in public doing things with various agencies and whatnot, it's designed as a dragnet. It's designed to capture your energy and focus it into futile efforts.
Yep,
but,
exactly. I picked that up right away.
Yeah. But that's not to say, here's the difference though. That's not to say that everyone involved in these agencies is bad. It's primarily the leadership. But I wish I could name names, but there's a lot of good actors that get pulled into the mission and don't really understand the underpinnings of what's going on around them. Yeah. I can think of a bunch of people like that off the top of my head. And I can think of...
If I ask a question eventually.
Yeah, 1 second though. Oh, yeah, that's fine. I'm done. Are you done, Tia?
Yeah, thanks so much.
Okay. Yeah, God bless.
Thank you. I had to leave, and then I came back, and I heard you guys talking about the ozone thing. What is it?
Ozone machine.
Ozone machine?
Yep, ozone machine. Google it. You'll see. You look up a YouTube video.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is anybody else?
Hey, Andy, let me ask you what you think about, I think we should be paying more attention to the Department of Energy. I think that the way that they get to me the majority of the time is through my electrical wiring. No matter where I am, even if I'm walking down the street, they wait till I get to a certain light, and they're able to shoot me with a direct hit. I've been trying to find a patent for that and see if there's a patent for it, but I just can't figure out the name of what it would be. I think if we figure out how they're getting through our electrical wiring, we can at least stop them from coming into our houses where we can get sleep and we can get, we'll have a safe place. We may not be able to stop it on the street, but as long as we get the nanotech out of our bodies, they won't be able to hit us in our houses if we can figure out a way to block them from coming in. I know people say it's the towers, it's the drones. I don't have any of that around me. The only place they're coming through is through my electrical wiring, because when I shut it down the first time, I had 2 days of bliss. They couldn't touch me in my house. I was in heaven. I slept for 2 days straight. And they couldn't get me at work because the devices had turned off because they couldn't turn them on in the house. But they did something where they could come back into my house. I don't know what they did, but they could do it. Even when I turned it off, they could still get me a little bit. But after that, I made the biggest mistake of my life calling the Department of Water and Power out to my house to check my electric. And after that, they can get in here no matter what I do. I don't know what they hooked up, but it was the biggest mistake of my life.
I don't know the particulars of everything you're talking about, but I will say this is that I do know that the electric grid can be utilized as carrier waves for the sound weapons. I also know that that turning your electricity off will only give you fractional relief. I heard what you said, 2 days. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what was going on in your situation. Sometimes people are targeted by singular entities and not groups of human traffickers. It just depends where you are and what's going on around you. The singular people.
And I think you're right. I think I'm being targeted by singular entities. I think these guys.
Either way, this is what I was going to say. The singular entities or the teams of they're all human traffickers. They're all contractors working as subcontractors through whatever federal grant program, through whatever private military. So it's ultimately it's the same thing, but basically is that sometimes they get these old guys. Oh, sorry, the fan just sounds like it's about to break. But sometimes they get these old guys that don't adapt quickly to what you're doing. They'll be like old retired pedophiles, more or less. Not always the case, but usually the case. 70 years old, were in the military for 20 years before they targeted you. And anyways, they stay at home, they get drunk, and they target people. And you could do something.
All of them are Hispanic.
Okay, so if that's the case, then that means they're a front for a group usually affiliated with outlaw bikers. If it's a street gang you're dealing with.
I can't believe you just said that. Yesterday, they had a whole bunch of bikers come down my street.
Yeah. If you're dealing with a street gang, it's because they're affiliates of the outlaw bikers. So the outlaw bikers are the subcontractors, and they subcontract their work to other street gangs. It's pretty common. But in general, when you do something like that, there's going to be an adaptation that's eventually going to happen. I don't know what's about to happen with this fan. Sounds like it's about to break. I'm sorry. But it's going off right in my background here. I got to keep my eye on it. But either way, they will adapt and they will overcome that. You don't necessarily need the power in your house to be turned on to target you, although it helps them. They will increase the aerosols. They will increase the ground-based weapons. They'll put them in people's garages and their rooms, your neighbors. There's always that ability to do it. And if you don't sense the drones, it doesn't mean they're not there. Sometimes the drones stay well far away from people. They're not always like getting right in your face like they are with me and many people on the call. Sometimes they look like at nighttime they kind of look like twinkling stars a little bit. You'll see them not far away operating, but usually they're closer. So take that with a grain of salt.
Okay.
It's bigger than your power grid is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
You got the aerosols, the nanomachinery, the break-ins. They're wearing invisibility cloaks. They've got trap houses that are next to you, near you. You know what I mean?
Oh,
they can put the weapons in the cars. They can put the weapons in their houses. They prefer to put the weapons in the drones. But if you're, say, like an invalid, or that I don't think that's the right word. If you're disabled and you can't move around, you don't often leave your house, they might have a drone or two, but primarily they're going to be doing it as low tech, as low cost as possible, because it's a business venture, right? Human trafficking is a business venture, and they're looking to maximize their profits and minimize their costs, as all good business ventures tend to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and another thing they're doing is making my eyes blurry.
That's oftentimes that's the nanowalkers directly.
Good intentions. I don't know about good. Sorry to interrupt you.
You said that's the nano walkers? Is that what you said?
Yeah, nanowalkers are the nanobots. The real term for them is nanowalkers. During break-ins, they're sprayed into your environment, and they'll literally, your clothes, your bedding, furniture, they literally crawl up on you, into you, whatever. That's how they do the sex attacks, by the way. But they'll crawl up your nose, your eyes, so forth, so forth. The easiest way to deal with the eye attack with the lowest amount of effort is to wear the orange glasses, especially if you're going to be driving. All right, if you drive often, I highly recommend you buy yourself a pair of orange lensed glasses. They block blue light, and it stops the directed energy weapons from accessing the nanomachinery in your eyes. Because when they hit your eyes, they're pulsing it with sublight or blue light. And that sublight is like, if our eyes could see it, it would be like very, very light purple blue. But our eyes can't see that color because it's just outside of what our eyes can feel. I've got proof of that. That's not me guessing. They really do aim that sublight and laser at people. And they'll do it to your eyes if you've got the nanomachinery there.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yeah, castor oil on the eyes help. Thank you, Tina. That's a great reminder. Castor oil is great with dealing with the nanowalkers. It helps a little bit break up the bioplaques too. I used to use castor oil and razors to shave the bioplaque off. But like you were saying, Tina, I actually prefer just to sweat as much as possible. And now that it's summer, that's easy. I just layer up and I'll just sweat. I'll sweat through my pants, through my shirts. I don't care. It feels good to open up the pores. But yes, that helps with the bioplaque, the sweat more than anything. Castor oil helps though too, very much so. Hi, is anybody else? Sandy, we haven't heard from you today.
That's okay. Everybody's being quiet. I can't
I wanted
really...
to show you something after Sandy, Andrew. It's Nathan.
Okay, cool.
Go ahead. I don't have anything to add. Oh, I've been using duct tape and putting it on my legs and just ripping off stuff.
Oh, brutal. Getting that, it's ripping up bioplaque though?
Absolutely.
There you go. Makes you kind of think maybe you should do a wax treatment. Get some
that's a great idea.
Get that canning wax. You can get it really cheap.
Well, okay, this is really rude, but I'm going to say it. I mean, do you think that would help with the sex attacks too? Just ripping that shit out?
No, not potentially, no.
Okay.
No, the best defense for the sex attacks is, in my experience, getting your wearables dialed in that area.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, you just want to neutralize all the electrical activity in that area.
Okay.
As best you can. And like I was saying earlier, when it comes to grounding, that would be a good area to ground yourself at night. Okay.
Oh, I have a grounding mat too.
Okay, but probably a little bit more than grounding mat. So like you could put the wires straight into the grounding, but make sure you've got a true ground. Okay. You get those little, they're like a $10, you plug them in, they're like a little.
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, I have those.
Okay, it tells you the true ground. So make sure you've got a true ground before you do it. The bottom circle is the ground. You can take you already know this, a 16 gauge, whatever, 14 gauge wire and jam it in there.
Okay, yep.
Yep, so that's one way you can ground. Another way you can ground is with clay, with dirt. You can literally put, if you've got the right type of dirt, if it's rich enough, like a mineral or... Yeah, mineral, not the top layer, but right below the top layer of dirt. I think it's mineral. You want that dirt. It's electrically neutral.
Well, and I also have these little grounding bracelets that have copper and metal on the other side, and they have a snap thing that goes to the wire that grounds to the electrical outlet.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah,
okay.
Try grounding and try electricity at the same time in that area and kind of mess around with it, see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah. The problem with the sex attacks, and then Nathan, you're right up. The problem with the sex attacks is that these nanowalkers are they're always on you once you start getting attacked with them. And I was saying this to Sandy the other day. If you could see them with your physical eye, what it would appear is that your edges were shimmering. All edges that you have to your body would be shimmering with these things. There's literally like millions of them on you. So they're constantly depositing themselves in various areas. When I was protecting myself effectively from the nanowalkers a long time ago now, 2-3 years ago, I would make sure that I wouldn't allow the things that I was sleeping on to be aerosolized by them. And I never broke into that spot, anything like that. So basically I was sleeping on a hammock. And this is before they put them in aerosols. But I might have been one of the first people they put them in aerosols on. But now they do it to everybody. This was like 3 years ago. And I would hang there in the hammock. And at some point in the night, when they first started aerosolizing, it would hit my hammock. And I would know roughly about the time because I would smell it in the air. And I'd have about, 3 hours before it crawled into me. And they tried to do a sex attack or something like that. So these nanowalkers, they don't move fast. For their size, they move incredibly fast, but it's probably like that much in 2 inch, maybe less an hour or something like that, but they just build up on you and build up and build up. Red light and blue light in tandem, right, also might be a fix for these nanowalkers. Red light for sure gives the habitat for them. It makes it very hard. So basically what I mean is like if you're shining red light on your crotch area, like a sex attack, right, to prevent a sex attack, and your skin has to be exposed. But if you're shining this red light, when the nanobots come to deposit on that area to leave their payload, which basically become the biopolymer to be interfaced with the directed energy weapons, what happens is they burn up, right? So there's like a brief window in which they remain viable, which is probably like, I don't know, a second, maybe, something like that, 2 seconds, something like that. So you can shine a red light on your wherever area you don't want the nanowalkers to accumulate. But the issue with that is you're shining a heat lamp, right? An infrared light, it produces heat. So not many people want to sleep like that with a red light on their genitals or wherever you don't want the nanowalkers to go. But that's something that I did for quite a while. And because I can't stand that. I can't stand any access to my body at this point. Like, even during the length of this call, I'll need to make adjustments that I can't make because I'm talking to everyone. And that irritates me, that grates on me a little bit, right? So I don't want them to have anything as much of the time as I can possibly, control. All right, and that's how everyone should be about this. So there's a few possible solutions. Clay along with the electric wire, or charcoal along with the electric wire, or a grounding wire along with the electrical wire, or you can go red light. Any oils you use are going to have an effect in the short term, but outside of into the midterm, so like an hour later, not so much. 2 hours later, that's about how much time it takes for oil to be overcome. It's about, from these nanowalkers, about 45 minutes, give or take, depending on the type of oil. Castor oil takes a little bit longer. Mineral oil is about 45 minutes, so 30 minutes, sometimes less time than that. Just depends on how much you're targeted.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was fine.
It's just it's so weird because, I mean, my whole body will feel really good, and then that whole area, it starts like at my butt, and then in my crotch area, it just starts, it's not, it's just hot. It's the only way I can describe it.
Okay, so that's a good, you just brought up a good thing. There's a variety of reasons they do the sex attacks. One is because a lot of these people that do these things really are perverts. All right, you got to imagine people that get into human trafficking. That is a thing for real, for sure. But more importantly than that, it's got to do with your anatomy. When they're targeting you, it goes, this is how it goes through the body, generally speaking. Generally speaking. This is a little bit different for everybody all the time, but this is where they would prefer. It starts at one of your lungs. If you're right-handed, it'll be your left lung. If you're left-handed, it'll be your right lung, generally speaking. So for me, I'll just say it's left lung. Then the nanomachinery and nanowalkers in tandem will try to plaque from the lung to the spine. From the spine, they'll try to get down into the sacrum. The sacrum is at the base of the spine. It's basically the opening between your femurs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the right term there, but where your hips meet your bone there, your pelvis.
Your
and
coccyx.
Coccyx, yes. Yeah. And they'll try to plaque all of that, okay? They'll try to get that biopolymer plaque in that area. Now, because that biopolymer plaque was in that area, that's like, in that area, generally speaking, is where the majority of your blood is, like pooling, not where, you know, where it...
oh, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so they want to get it in your blood. They want to have control over your body. Guess where they're going to go after? The root of your body, which is in that pelvis, right below your belly button, right above your pelvis. And in that area is your genitalia. So your genitalia become a target of that process, just for them trying to do their jobs. And then somewhere along the line, about, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, something like that, 5-6 years ago, they made it protocol to sexually attack people as much as possible. So if you're experiencing that sexual, maybe 4 years ago, something like that, that's when everyone first started talking about it. There's a few people were talking about it before, but everybody was talking about it after that point, 3 years ago, something like that. If you're experiencing that, do not be ashamed at all, okay, of any of it. They do it. One of the things they're doing, the psychological part of it, is they're trying to drive shame out of you, trying to get you locked in those lustful cycles, you know, also. Because it's like your head will be hurting, your genitalia will be vibrating. Of course, that's going to have an effect. Like, it just, you know, I'll give you guys literally what I do. I literally pray to be delivered from it, right? And to overcome that energy, right? Because it's an artificially put on you energy. It's not necessarily your desires, or, you know what I'm trying to say. It's not necessarily inherent in you, right? To any degree. In fact, I've been able to neutralize it like every day forever now, you know, not forever, but for a long time. And when I get it to go away, literally, it's that clarity of mind comes. It's like, you know, what a crazy situation, because it's not only that they're vibrating your genitalia, it's that the part in your brain that's connected to that lustful reaction is also being interacted with. So it's not as though they're, you could say they're planting thoughts in your mind, but that's not really true. It's like they're planting emotions and then making it real for your body, right? By triggering that part of your brain, it's like the emotion, right? And then triggering that part of your body is the making it real. And it's your brain that will take it from there into whatever outcome. So you can actually overcome a lot of it in your brain when you literally pray upon it. I know it sounds crazy, like, oh, you're going to pray the pain away. No, that's not the point. The point is that the emotional loop you can stop. And when you stop the emotional loop, you can address the physical loop with the wearables that we've been talking about here. So, and once you get that process down, you do it over and over and over, then you can see there's no shame in that. There is no shame in surviving whatsoever. There's no shame in having these things happen to you, okay? The shame is in doing this to another person, clearly, right? That's vile on a level that's like hard for regular people, for us in this call, to really fathom. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. There's nothing wrong with you for having that emotional response, because that part of your brain's being triggered too, and that's what they're doing always. When you're out in public, it's not just the sex. Now let's move past the sex attacks. When you're out in public, right? They've got some street theater, some counterintelligence operation planned, right? Because that's what it really is. The street theater's real name is counterintelligence, to counter your intelligence. In this case, to counter your sane mind, right? And they get some homeless person or know-nothing person, some like community do-gooder who doesn't understand anything, who feels like righteous in their stupidity and ignorance, or even like some gangbanger, and they get them in your face trying to pick a fight, trying to instigate you some way or another, and it's, they got a million ways to do it. There's a million tricks in the book. When they crowd you when you're trying to buy something, and they just crowd you in general, they just get right and start breathing on your neck and shit like that. At the same time that they have that person out there, which is usually a citizen informant, but sometimes a human trafficker. So keep your eyes out. You might see one of them, right? When you're experiencing one of these things. Sometimes human traffickers do it because they can't find a citizen informant to do it for them. All right, so sometimes it really is them doing it. But when they get in your space like that, they're creating that reaction. They're making it real for your body as your brain, that part of your brain that's responsible for anger, is being triggered. Okay? So again, it's not really mind control in the sense that we think of it. It's emotion control, right? Which is kind of, an element of that is scarier because it's the emotions that derive everything else. But with that being said, when we recognize it for what it is, we can call upon God or whatever derivative of it you have, right? I call upon God, and you say, nope, not today. I am not angry. I am not lustful. I am not sad. I am blank. I am blank. I am happy. I am joyful. I am in my body. I am here. I am now, right? And that sounds goofy and stupid. Like, how could those positive affirmations work? And then, stopping the negative affirmations too, and calling upon God. God, please help me. God, please help me. God, please help me. Get through this cascading of thoughts. Then you can shut off the emotion part. What literally is happening in your brain is electrical charge is being sent to that area that's being triggered, and it's neutralizing it. So it really does have an effect. It really is powerful, right? And when you can stop that emotional feedback, then you can separate what your physical body is responding to, the stimuli of, right? So like that person breathing on your neck, instead of going to shove them or yell at them, you go, pain in my head, anger, they're in my face, I'm not angry, take a step away. Look back at them and go, me today, you tomorrow, walk off, right? That's how I used to handle those interactions when I would get angry. Now I don't even get angry because I got the wearables dialed for the most part. And every now and then something slips through. But now I got the wearables dialed for the most part, 99 times out of 100. And there's no engagement whatsoever. I don't even, those people are going to get what they're getting. You know what I mean? But that's more or less from the sex attacks to the, quote, street theater, which is counterintelligence operation. That's more or less what they're doing. They're always looking. And then there's other things, too, when they incorporate sound into that. They're trying to cause that part of the brain that they're interacting with to be extra in pain. There's other things, too. But, yeah, I would say to anyone, don't be ashamed of what you're dealing with when it comes to sex attacks, but do whatever you can to stop it. Okay, now, Sandy, what are you showing?
That grounding thing.
Oh, yeah, see, she plugs that into the wall, and it gives her a grounding energy.
It's a long
But literally, you can, for anyone that doesn't have that, if you've got a good ground, you need a little ground tester to know, you can plug a wire straight into the round one, not the flat blades, but the round one. The round one is your ground. Was there anything else, Sandy?
No. I was going to show you the round part. this part. Wait, this thing. Oh, get my face off there. I don't have any clothes on.
No, they're on the plug. Go back to the plug. Yeah, the round part on the plug. On the actual, with the electrodes that go into the wall.
Oh, yeah.
The round one. The round one is the ground. The two blades are.
You can just shove it in one of those holes.
No, I'm talking about the wall. The electrical outlet on the wall.
Oh, okay.
The round one is the ground.
Never shove anything. No.
No. If you listen, this is what I was saying. If you have a ground tester and it shows a true ground, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, that I get it. But the lady, like, shove it in there. I was like, no, you just. So.
No, see, you didn't understand what I'm saying. The flat blade is the hot and neutral, which would be like the positive and negative of the electrical system.
Okay,
the round.
Sorry I brought that in. But
no,
yeah.
It's okay. It's not your fault. The round, he just misunderstood. The round circle is the ground.
Oh, yes. Okay, I understand.
Yes. Okay. If you have a true ground in your electrical outlet on your wall, so the electrical outlet that's on the wall, you've got to test it. You buy these testers at any hardware store. They're like $10. It'll tell you.
My ignition coil has a ground thing. I'd have to test it.
Yeah, because you needed to run that machine. You needed a good ground.
Yeah, so I can plug that in.
Yeah, but you can literally take a copper wire, just a regular copper wire, and plug it straight into the electrical outlet, the round terminal, not the flat blades. The flat blades will shock you. The round terminal underneath the flat blades is the ground.
Yeah, the same thing that goes in. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that ground, that will provide you the house ground. Now, if that's not a true ground, you could shock yourself if it's called a floating ground. A floating ground is basically when the house hasn't been wired correctly, which is pretty normal.
I've shocked myself so many times. It's nature of this game, I think.
Yeah. Okay, sorry about that, Nathan. That was a long time to get to you. Oh, hold on, you're muted. I'll unmute you.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm just hanging out. So, a few things. But I did want to start off with this. You know, our blood, it flows from the left to right, right?
Mm-hmm.
So lately I've been noticing that, like, the blood and circulation on the left side has been kind of like numbing. I'm not getting proper circulation. I could be laying down or sitting down. I look down at my leg, and I don't see, like, the vein, sticking out of my leg. It'll look like it's going in, like, reverse, like it's going into, like, my skin and my bone, basically. Mm-hmm. So the copper wire and electric, that's been helping a bit, too, besides other things I've been doing, like detoxing with the charcoal and whatnot. But I wanted to show you so this is the belt I made, basically, that goes around my body. I don't know if you can see it, but
yeah,
I'm getting pretty decent at putting them together and just coiling it up. And you can see here on the tip, I put a little bit of electric tape, so this way it doesn't cut me or damage me. And when I put it around me, it just literally works like kind of like as a belt,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I can just take it off. And I've been using it, specifically, this one's been helping me the most. This little, this is the top of a candle.
Yeah.
So I have a smaller version of that, and I just put it in here. And if I put it in certain places, it helps.
Okay, so that let's go to we'll start where you left off. That electric wire you've got for your midsection, I would get a little bit more if you're going to wear it on your midsection,
Okay.
But the wire cut up and put into bottles will operate a similar way as the glass candle lid. It'll operate a similar way in a bottle. It'll create a burst instead of a projection.
Like a bottle like this?
Yeah, you could just literally put the electric wire in there and it'll have a similar effect.
Okay.
So just
okay.
log that away.
But what did you mean by I need more of this? This is pretty long, you know, like
Well, it's like just more. I would just get more material in general.
Okay, so put more around it.
Yeah, if you're gonna wrap your midsection.
But I have plenty of more of the wire and stuff. Too.
Yeah, I would say like you want that to be at that gauge, probably like 4 wraps.
4, okay.
Yeah, that would be better. But that being said, the biggest thing is awareness, right? Feeling your body and adapting, like you're doing with the candle lid. That's good. Keep that up. That's great. To the other thing you were saying about the blood flow from the left to the right, I'm not sure. I can't. Maybe you're right. I don't know. But the veins, I do know what you're talking about. I guess we could look it up real quick about the blood flow. But
yeah, you could. You can definitely confirm that.
Okay. The veins on your body will become plaqued with nanomachinery first because of you breathing it in, right? It going from your lung to your blood supply and then trying to pull it out, right? And they're trying to pull it out to plaque, to cause these bioplaques. Oh, it'll start from your veins and then it will create these porous chambers going into that subdermal layer, the fascia, okay? The idea is that from your veins to your skin is conductive material that directed energy weapons can access. So what you're looking at when you're looking at the left side without the veins being present is you're looking at a thick bioplaque over those veins. There's a thick bioplaque there. The easiest way to clear that thick bioplaque is with an oil and razor. Oil, just you put like mineral oil and you can shave it off. You'll watch it come off. You can also use sweat, right? And then as you're sweating and you notice that area has got a good amount of crap on you, start rubbing it like this. And you'll see it come up. Hold on a second. Because I've been sweating in here. I don't know if you can see that.
Right. It's like a little sack. I can feel it sometimes when I'm washing my face. I'll clean my face off and there'll be like this little like residue.
Yeah, it's like rubber cement, like dried rubber cement.
Yeah, it stays on my bathtub. I have to wash my bathtub like 3 times a week.
Yeah, that's what it is. You'll get it really bad right here on your nose. When you touched your nose like that, I knew you were right. Because that's where it accumulates, because your nose is always sweating all this crap out, right? It's part of your lymphatics.
And if you notice, I have a burn mark kind of over here. You know, I usually put vitamin E, it helps, but...
That burn mark is the nanomachinery plaquing in the body. If it stays there long enough time, it looks like your body's been burned, because it more or less has been. But it's been chemically burned with this biopolymer.
Biopolymer, okay.
Yeah, it's the nanomachinery forms a biopolymer. Think of it like tooth plaque. But this tooth plaque gets everywhere. It gets on your skin, it gets under your skin, it gets in your organs, it gets on the arteries and the veins, all surrounds them, and it goes from the arteries and the veins to the skin. Right? And so like you'll have this plaque all the way through you. And this plaque is what enables the directed energy weapons to access your internals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I noticed certain parts of where the plaques are being created. Like, for instance, you see my left leg.
Mm-hmm.
The vein, it'll look like it's going in reverse. And sometimes I feel it on my left side because, you know, those are where your most important organs are. You know, your heart is more towards to your left, you know?
Yeah.
And, okay, but for the second example, you see with that burn mark on my nose? I notice when my nose and my face isn't clear, I'll have mucus all day. No matter how much I spit it out, I blow my nose, it just keeps coming back. Unless I really, like, I don't know, by the grace of God, wash myself perfectly, I won't have relief for a few hours. And that's like the most I'll get.
The nose detoxing, draining is actually a good thing, right? Because it's got the mucus traps all these heavy metal, synthetic biology, nanomachinery particulates, and it wants to come out of us, right? So for me, in a similar vein, I'm always picking my nose. It sounds gross, but it's true.
No, me too.
And it's like the rubber cement crap is always coming out.
Right.
You know, it's always accruing there because I'm breathing so many aerosols, and I'm always having to get it out. And it doesn't look like a regular, it's gross, but it doesn't look like a regular booger.
It's so thick, it's like flubber sometimes. It doesn't make sense.
It's the same thing as the white fibrous clots. You know the white fibrous clots I showed at the beginning?
It's so sticky and everything, like...
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Margellus, I saw a video about that. I'll tell you about, but finish up.
It's the same thing, but a different density. So when it accrues in the body, it's under much, much more pressure. And, you know, the pressure causes a denser layering of whatever, right? And we're talking about a plaque. So in your nose, that plaque is going to form with a little bit of mucus in it too, but it's going to form much looser. When it's in your veins, it's going to be much more compact. And, you know, one of the main ways that neural weapons, human trafficking survivors die, I shouldn't say survivors, neural weapons, human trafficked people die, is through clots.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes when I blow my nose, I look at the tissue because it will be like a blockade, and then it will be like poof. And then I look at it on the tissue. I'm like, how? I don't remember my mucus looking like that when I was a kid. My mucus was green, you know, whatever color.
Yeah.
And this is like literally like a white. It doesn't look. It doesn't. It doesn't look normal.
Sorry, I missed the timing of this. It's a white fibrous clot. It's exactly what it is. And hold on a second. I'm sharing my screen right now for everybody.
Boogers for me too.
Yeah, everybody gets them. Everyone is targeted. And it's that neural smart dust crap, heavy metals in the air. Oh, I'm going to Richard Hirschman's page because this is why I follow Richard Hirschman. This is why Richard Hirschman will always have a soft spot in my heart because of this, his publicizing this information. Because I was looking for this information everywhere. I was expecting many, many people to publish it. No one ever did besides him. Some embalmer out of Tennessee. This is it right here. These are the white fibrous clots.
Jesus.
Okay, that's him. He literally pulled that from people's veins and arteries and canals. Okay, that's the same thing that's forming in your nose, but of different density. Anyways, that's all.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for confirming that with me because I never understood that, and I've asked my doctor. You know, I've told him, I've showed him it. He didn't even want to look at the paper. I brought it in to him, you know, and he just said take some allergy medication and whatnot. But I did have another question as well. And I don't want to incite nothing crazy, but there's this guy on my Facebook. He bought a jammer. But I hear that these jammers are illegal, but I hear that they're not. And, you know, if you use them in your home and, you know, those work? Do those work?
Okay, so let me state right here. Most of the things you see on Facebook are full of shit. Excuse my language. There are so many spooks on Facebook, okay? That's like one of the main spook hangouts. There are some legit people that do post legit things, though, for sure. Jammers have the propensity of working at jamming certain interfaces. The full thing I would not know. I would not know how effective it could be. Because it's not feasible, you know.
That's why he called me a boomer, is because I found something that I thought was real, and he said basically it's clickbait.
But back to the jammer thing. I don't particularly know. I do know there was one guy, man, I don't have this ready. I'll look while we're talking, who figured out how to use jammers to interface with them, targeting him in real time with his computer. And it was totally legit. And I tried reaching out to the guy, but he ended up blocking me. He got spooked that I was interested.
Get spooked all the time.
Yeah, well, it's fair because when you do something like that, like half the people that approach me are spooks. But sorry, go ahead.
Right. No, I understand that, but I get a lot of it clickbait. I will admit this. sometimes I get excited, or sometimes I just try to be optimistic and just wish that this will work or fix certain kind of things. And a lot of it, you are right, there are spoofs, because somebody be like, oh, they wouldn't tell me that it's synthetic clots or whatnot. They would tell me, oh, somebody's pointing a frequency at your nose, and that's why. And I would think to myself, okay, let me play some frequencies, maybe if I had a jammer, I could block out those frequencies from, having so much snot in my nose and having these feelings. So, it is a lot of disinformation and clickbait. I can agree with that.
Yeah, and they'll utilize any frequency from just above ELF to gamma rays to interact with nanomachinery. And then if they can't do that, they'll aim ultrasound at you to a point where it causes an electric reaction. So I don't think you can jam all that, but there is some potential to it. I just wouldn't know.
Okay.
Hey, Andrew, this is Akib. Got a quick on the same topic. I was going to mention about 10 years ago or 12 years ago, Bill Benny, he presented a video, and he mentioned a device, gave the model number, and he says it sweeps frequency, and it's about $4,000 or $5,000 device, but say even if you buy it, it will sweep the frequency and be very effective. But the thing is that they can remotely disable it, so you have to have some kind of what do you call some kind of generate battery protector behind it, so they cannot remotely, or some stuff, and you have to download the firmware on a USB, so when they attack it, you can upload the firmware again to make it work, because it costs about $5,000. It says he sweeps all the frequencies. I saved that video somewhere 10 years ago. I have to find it. Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not. If you send it to me, I'll take a look. I know that people were using Hack RF1. They're like a $300 dongle device, I think is the right way to say that. And it goes through the, I don't know the range it goes through. It can sweep, but it can sweep a wide range of radio frequency. And the guy who found that, what he was doing is he was converting the frequencies he found into sound files to sound, and he was playing that sound back to him, and I've shared some of that work of his here. That's that Blue Scales. He produces pretty good sound files, but it's not the right application for it. And honestly, what he told me personally when I talked to him was that when you start getting into what they're doing, the exact frequencies, they have the ability engineered into the devices they're using to switch frequencies rapidly. So he was saying that he would get 10 frequencies every, I don't know, I can't remember what he's saying, 4 seconds, something like that, 8 seconds. It was just constantly switching to stop people from jamming it or interacting with it. Which makes sense, because that's all military tech. That's that Northrop Grumman stuff.
Yeah, frequency hopping.
Yeah, Booz Allen Hamilton. They developed those weapons specifically to not be jammed by other militaries or domestic populations. So I think, generally speaking, in my opinion of this, it has been for a long time, but I'll change it if I'm wrong, is that we need to think of more practical, energetic solutions to what they're doing. So because you want to be able to go to a hardware store with $50 and have potential solutions, my opinion, and be able to recreate that anywhere in the world, or almost anywhere in the world. That's what we're after, my opinion.
Can I ask a question on a different subject?
Yeah, go ahead.
I live where I live, right near my mom and her partner. I have a separate cabin, but I've wanted to move for a very long time because her partner is part of this for me, and I have the opportunity to move, and it would be just me all by myself, even further off-grid into the woods. And I was just wondering if you had any thoughts about if I should continue to live at home where I'm near my mom and she helps me a lot and I help her, but I have to deal with her partner, being a perp in my life or whatever you want to call him. Or I could go live all by myself deep in the woods.
Oh, that's an easy. This is just my opinion, but this is an easy opinion to have. Is you should stay where you are. Mm-hmm. It's much better. It's much better to deal, to have people watching out and looking after you and people to talk to, than it is to be alone during this. It's my personal opinion.
Except he's there to I don't know, he does the thing. He bangs the hammer on cue and wears the colors and does the symbology and does all kinds of weird things. So I have to deal with that as a family member doing that to me. It's been something I've wanted to get away from for a very long time.
Well, they can do noise campaign stuff when you move out by yourself too.
I know the program won't stop whatsoever, but I won't be emotionally triggered by a family member.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean completely. But
I also won't have my mom.
At least your mom is there, to see that he doesn't get too out of hand. If you're completely isolated.
He has no idea.
I know, but for you say he does a noise campaign thing, but if you're completely isolated, it can get even more insane, But she's there, looking out for you, so you know what I mean. For example, he could be talking really crazy on top of the noise campaign stuff, but then she would get a clue if he was doing that. You know what I mean? So if you're completely isolated, and he's not a family member, he's a perp, he's a honeypot probably. So just
he's my mom's partner since I was 15.
I'm sorry. He still could be a honeypot, God knows. This program's really weird. I think they've been wandering a lot of us from a very young age.
He's a Freemason Satanist, I believe, and she has no idea. And they've been together for 37 years or something like that. So, it's not my relationship. And I'm just really torn on the subject, and I'm supposed to give my response tomorrow if I want the cabin or not.
The last opinion I got about this is that when you get into isolated, off-the-grid situations like that, they already do it, but the invisibility cloaking will just get insane.
Look, I'm 61 years old, and I live at home with my mom, and I'm so thankful that I'm here.
Yeah, I'm alone here in New York, and I kind of resent it. I'm not even gonna lie. I even emailed Andrew 2 weeks ago, told him I was in shambles because I was by myself. Stay with your mom. I'm telling you, you'll probably even regret it more. I'm not trying to put bad thoughts in your head, but I think you should stay with your family at least. And don't leave your mom with a guy like that.
That's a good point. And you know what? Another point is that if to what Nathan was saying, and Sandy, excuse my ear needs to be popped. When you're targeted, your family is targeted too. That's always I have not come across one incident that's not the case. All right, because they start with either you or someone else in your family that you don't know about, and when they're done with them, they move to you. When they're done with you, they'll move to someone else in your family. All right, because when they go after one person, they go after the whole family. It's the way it expands. It's just the way it's meant to operate. Standard operating procedure. So if you can be with your family, not only will it help your survival, but it will help them too. You might not seem like it at first because you're bringing this unwanted attention that they didn't have in their life before you got there, but you'll see soon, quickly thereafter, that they were being surveilled, followed, harassed, and all these things. just to a much lesser degree than you. That's almost always been the case for me.
That's what I was gonna ask her. Is your mom targeted too, or like maybe she doesn't know that she is? Is he nice to her?
My mom and my son probably have weird things going on. You know, he's two different people, and she has no idea. And I figured out a while ago that I don't want to clue her in. If she wakes up, she wakes up. I just can't. I've already tried. This has been going on for a long time. I've been wanting to get out on my own for a long time, and all of a sudden this popped up, and I have like till tomorrow to decide. And I never thought that I would not want to do it, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, do I do this or not? Because I've wanted to get away from him. I love my mom, but you know, to have a, but yeah, maybe stay at home. That's why I asked. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, one last thing, Rachel. I want to leave you with this quote. You know how they say keep your friends close, but your enemies closer?
Yeah.
You know, just keep an eye on him, you know? He's watching you, obviously, but, you know, always try to think 2 steps ahead of the game and be safe, all right? Positive thoughts and prayers.
But it's so triggering to have someone who I once thought was like a family member. I don't really think of him as a family member anymore, but it's so up close and personal that it's very triggering.
Do you wear headphones? Do you do anything to try to cancel out the noise campaign?
Well, that's just one teeny tiny part of it. It goes on and on. He does as much as possible in a day, every day, to trigger me and hurt me.
Well, his time is going to come.
I think he might be my handler, or whatever you call that. The closest person that, you know, knows when I come and go, and, you know.
Well, you guys, we all have our choices, you know. It's up to you to decide what you want to do. It's your life. But I think everybody is kind of on consensus. If you're asking for opinions, you've got it.
Thank you all so much.
I think you should pray about it, too. You're welcome. Amen.
Okay, hey, was there anybody else?
Hey, Andrew. Thank you for everything. I heard you reference sometime, if you know what I mean, earlier today, about when you take the twisted wires and you put it in, like, totally encapsulated in something, does it create more and more, I mean, something that resembles, I think you said that it resembles the EMP.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what I was talking. Yeah, when you put electric wire in a bottle. So imagine this is a bottle, and if you put electric wire in it, because the top would be covered, then it won't come, when the top isn't covered, it'll come out the top. Or if it was covered with a different material of different density, say like a piece of paper or tape or plastic, it would still come out the top more so than the sides. But if the top was encapsulated in glass and the electric wire was in here in this cup, then the effect would burst instead of being emitted, excuse me. Because right now it's like being emitted from here. If this is covered, it bursts out, electromagnetic pulse.
It's like an EMP or the same technology, but not as powerful as the EMP device. Then is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's not. It doesn't operate in the same scale or density of energy. The stun gun EMP has a lot of power. When you put electric wire into a bottle and close up the cap, it has just a tiny bit of power. But that tiny bit of power is all you need to destabilize the nano. But you need much more power to deactivate implants.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I was talking about. And then, sorry, what was your name again? I know you've told me. I'm sorry.
Me, Meg.
Meg. God, that's like the third time I've asked you.
That's okay. It's like you to, 50 people.
Well, and you always go by guest, so it's hard for me,
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good hearing from you. All right, guys, we're at 2 hours, some change.
I got booted. I got back and I got booted again.
Yep, makes sense here. Let me make you a moderator again. You're welcome, Nathan. I saw that in the comments. He's saying that his left side feels so much better. Okay, because we're working with information, that's real. When you start understanding how these things work, how long have I been presenting this this cohesively for about 3 months, 4 months, give or take? Not that long at all. But in general, how everything was working about almost 2 months or so, 10 months. So imagine next year. It's not that much time at all. Next year or the year after, when people have been working with this truthful information, there is going to be solutions that other people figure out, or maybe even just better implementation of the ones that I have figured out. And it will evolve. It's just we're still in that early seedling stage. So, everyone have hope, take faith in the fact that if enough of us do the work, this will come to be. But that being said, enough of us need to do the work, right? And the work is like building the wearables, making the EMP stun gun, doing all that stuff, right? You can sit here and listen to me talk forever, and you'll learn a lot, but until you apply it, as far as this goes, and then you'll hear me ramble sometimes, and I'm sorry for that. But as far as this goes, you need to implement this information if you're going to have any sort of quality of life difference. It's not just good enough just to take it in, unfortunately. You do whatever you want, and for the people just taking it in, I'm glad at least you're here. But there comes to be a point where you've got to ask yourself, what do I want my life to look like? What do I want to do? Do I want to try and fight this? Do I want to try to hide from it? What do I want to do with it? Because now you have a choice. There is things that can be done, right? Before it was like, I don't know how it's working. I don't know what it's doing. They're utilizing all these sci-fi space age technologies, which they are, sure. But it was before it was like, it was almost acceptable to be in a learned helplessness state. I've been there too. It's like, I just don't understand what's going on. I don't know what to do about any of it. But this is how it's working. And at least the element that we can interact with. I know there's far more to it that I don't know about. I know that. And then I know that I don't know. You know what I mean? So I know, that's that old Newt Gingrich quote, or whoever said that. There's known knowns, there's known unknowns, and there's unknown unknowns. But it's true. And the known knowns that we have right now is enough for you to have a choice about how you want to approach this neuroweapons human trafficking situation you found yourself in.
I have another question about the wearables. That's it.
Oh yeah, go ahead, please.
I had mentioned earlier to you that I had made a really big, long, twisted piece, and I could wrap it 3 times around my abdomen. Could I make just like separate rings? Or does it have to be one great big long piece? Like, let's say I wanted to add another ring or two. Could I just like make a separate ring? Will it have a different effect, or does it need to be all one big long piece?
It doesn't need to be all one big long piece. I find it's just easier to keep on you when it's one big long piece.
Okay.
If the wires are touching each other, the effect will be shared.
Okay.
Hey, do you mind showing it to me? I want to see what it looks like.
Sure, no problem. I love showing the stuff I got. Here, I'll show you guys the thingy too. Can you see that? somebody was asking about the ozonator. So
that's the ozone machine.
Yeah, it's running right now. You can see there's like a purple light in there. And I'm sitting right in the room. It's not bothering me at all.
I actually, my family actually likes the smell of ozone.
Yeah, it's a nice smell.
Yeah, it smells like a rainforest to me.
Okay.
So you got a nice house.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
An apartment.
Oh, okay.
It's a nice part. It's like those old condominium type. So here's what this is actually 4 different wires. I used 2 different gauge of copper and 2 different gauge of steel.
That looks great.
And I just put it in the drill, had my husband go down the other end of the house and just spun it until this is kind of more like a necklace, separate piece.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's great to have it in bulk like that because you can cut it off when you need a chunk for whatever. Too, you know.
And I kind of made like a loop out of the end where this part that was in the drill.
Yeah.
I just kind of made a loop so I can loop it in.
You know, there's another way to use this that I haven't really talked about that much because it's like most people aren't ready for it, but when you got all that wire there, you're ready for it. You can coil it. You can make like a little coil pack, and that coil pack you can also kind of just put in your pocket too, or you can put it on your finger. You can put it in your pocket. You can do whatever with it. But like wrap it like around your, like here, look at the screen real quick. When you wrap it around your fingers like this so that you can pull it off your hand out real easy. And you can make a nice, nice little coil, about that diameter, that thick. And then you can do all sorts of things with it too, just to have it around. Put it on a dish, whatever, you know what I mean?
I want to show you, since you're talking about that, I think something else that's neat. I trying to make something for the scan up so I can hear you.
Oh, you're cutting out a little bit.
I made this. I tried to make something pretty that I could wear at work, and so I made this is a wearable that has magnets in it, and I put my own magnets on it to strengthen the impact. But I also made this coil bracelet because this has the coiled metals, and so I wear them together like a bracelet set on my wrist.
Yeah, that will have an effect for sure.
I figured touching it, so it should do something. This solid copper is touching the coiled copper, and the solid copper has the magnets hidden underneath. See?
Yeah, that's a good.
And it's pretty, so I could wear it and feel good about it. And I made this spiral ring.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about when you make coils like that.
That's awesome. I love it. That's awesome.
And this actually, underneath, you don't see it, but there's 2 tiny magnets there. But it's pretty. So that's what I've been wearing in public.
Yeah, if we can.
Great.
There is such a market for this eventually. I mean, if everybody was wearing those rings right now, a lot of the nano deaths in society would be done. A lot of them. I don't know all of them, but a lot of them. It would totally change the world is what I mean.
I have copper fans in every room. But this one I wanted to ask you about. This is a real high velocity, so it's been super fast. But I was afraid to put the glue and the twisted copper on it because I'm afraid it'll fall out and like break the fan because there's such a high velocity. I wonder if maybe if I put it on the back of the blade. Maybe.
You could, anywhere that you can get it to fit for sure. You can also put electric wire on those fan blades too. Instead of just copper, you could put the twisted electric, the some of that twisted wire on there.
Like the stuff meant for house wiring.
No, the stuff that you built, the coils you just showed us, the one you're wearing on your finger.
Oh yeah.
You could put that on the fan too, but use use mounting tape with the hot glue.
Yeah, that's what I did with all my fans. I was just worried because it's such a high velocity. What if it, falls, like spins off? I used the Gorilla.
They'll spin off eventually, one of them.
The Gorilla double tape, and I hot glued the entire thing. But these are steel blades, and it's such a high velocity. I don't want to break my really good fan. This thing, I run it all night so that I don't hear anything, and I just sleep really good. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's why I was looking at my fan earlier. So I was thinking we were about to lose one, because they do throw them eventually. It takes a long. This one I did exactly right, and it's not thrown any, and it's been like 2 years now. So this one's doing great. But what happens is all that nano crap that's in the air, the dust, it gets up into the hot glue and stuff. Yeah. But,
I was playing in my bedroom one night, and I had no idea. All of a sudden, I hear boop, 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 like arrows, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, what the hell? Somebody's really doing something now." And it was those things flying off my ceiling fan.
Yeah, one time I was in the kids' room here because I put it in theirs, and one shot off and almost hit me. I was like, "Oh, great!" But the kids just laughed. They thought it was funny.
Hey, Andrew, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you may have covered this in your last couple of podcasts. I haven't been on due to like being out of town, like a family emergency. So I have a question regarding using the EMF stun gun around my eyes and my brain, because I'm having these images put in my eyes, and you actually can't sleep when you see them. So, and I don't know what they are, but I know they're being, and I don't know how it's being done, but I keep the EMF stun gun away from my face and brain. But now I'm having this issue. Have you heard of anyone else having this or seeing these things, like circles, lights?
Yeah, I think that's how the dream manipulation works, but I don't know for sure. But take the stun gun. Do not be afraid. It'll be fine. You can have it around your eyes and your head. In fact, you should have gone over your eyes and your head already with it. It'll be fine. It does not cause any long-term effect besides. No, see, this is, when we're dealing with any of this stuff, I know it's like we don't want to cause more harm to our bodies, but also more harm is being caused to our bodies by allowing these things to exist in these areas, which is obvious, right? So don't be afraid of the stun gun. In my experience,
sometimes I close my eyes too, and I'll force my eyes to the left really hard, and as hard as I can, and I don't know, I do it for a few seconds. Then I'll go over to the right side of my head and push them over for a long time. So I go all over my head, and that on top, and I've done my eyes with the stun gun 1,000,000 times. I mean, it won't hurt you. But
the eye exercise, Sandy brought up a great point. The eye exercise is really good for clearing out nano from your eyes. And what she means is you look all the way left upper corner, all the way right upper corner, all the way down left corner, right corner, all the way down other corner. And you do that, and you'll be really surprised how much that helps. But along with using the EMP stun gun, I think you'll be set. And then somebody was mentioning earlier castor oil for the eyes. Tina, castor oil for the eyes does help a lot too.
I tried that. So I researched that. I tried that. That didn't help. As a matter of fact, it got worse. So I stopped doing that. And then I thought, all right, I need to do the EMP on my eyes and my ears because they're putting pressure in my ear to the jaw. So but the image thing is fairly new, and it's really annoying. It's like white horizontal LED light lines, circles, cartoons. It's annoying.
Okay,
so
it's because
is that nano?
You've got nano there for sure. But the bigger thing is because you deactivated all the other implants and you kept those ones going when you didn't do it over the eyes and head.
Okay.
So they're trying to circumvent your whole body and just go right through your eyes to your brain.
Yeah, because everywhere when you signed off on when I built it and I started using it, none of those spots that had that pain ever surfaced again. Not one of them.
Okay,
so
well they will.
That makes sense. The brain. Okay.
They will later on, but in a different way. But right now they don't have to because they're just going straight through your eyes. So you could even do this right now during the call if you'd want to and report back to us. But go ahead and run that over your eyes, your forehead, your face, your whole face, your whole head, and tell us if you want to.
Okay. I may do that. I have to dig it out of a box. It's in a taped box because I was away from the house and I couldn't bring it with me. So I taped it up. I was going to leave it at a person in another TI's house where I keep certain things that never get messed with. But I do have it and I need to charge it. So I found my charger and I will charge it. And I'll even email you and I'll let you know how it goes because this is really concerning. I'll be driving and I'll get shot in the eye. It's pretty dangerous.
Yeah. And then I would hate not to say this too, sorry for interrupting you, is orange lensed glasses, always. This is for everyone. Everyone is being targeted should get a pair of orange lensed glasses. Those headlights, the white lights that the neighbors will use, these sublights that you can't see, those lasers that are just out of the visual range, the orange lensed glasses help with all of that. And at some point, they will be attacking everyone's eyes here, even people that aren't targeted. That's another story, though.
Yeah. You told me about those orange lens glasses. I have them. I wear them. But this level, they stepped it up. And maybe it's like what you said because everything else in the body is not being shot at or electrocuted. I'll still have pains different places and some dizziness and vertigo that they've implemented lately, but it's with the ears and the brain. So I'll run the gun. I have to charge it though. I have to charge it. It needs charge, and I'm actually going to make another one for a backup.
You know, the reason I'm able to accurately comment on something like that, Gigi, is because I've gone through exactly what you're talking about. And there's other people here that have gone through exactly what you're talking about. When the human traffickers, when their weapon systems don't work the way they want them to, one of their workarounds is just trying to brute force the eyes. So it's pretty standard for them to try that.
And I think the ears, too, because they made me so unstable where I had to stop in a parking lot. I was 10 feet from my car, and I couldn't walk. I could not walk. But I started with I just stood there, and then I got in my car, had a couple of sips of water until I got stable to drive back home. Yeah, so this is so the EMF gun is working because I use it on all parts of the body, except I was afraid for the eyes and the brain and the ears. But now I have no choice. I have to do it. And if Sandy said she's done it hundreds of times on there, I'm going to do this. I have no choice.
I'm sure all of us have. It's not just me, like he said. It's because we all are suffering some of the same stuff, like what you just talked about in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I had that happen, and what helped me with that was I threw up like Andrew said. I ate garlic. I eat onions. So, yeah, it's a sad thing that we come together like this. But like he just said, if enough of us get together and keep on sharing this information, I mean, we're going to stop a lot of it. And what are they going to do?
I don't know.
You're right.
We'll see, but God's got the greater plan, in motion right now. Hey, I want to say this real quick. Think about your eye, and thank you, Sandy, for speaking about that. See, this is Sandy. People really respect your presence here because of all the work you've done.
Yeah.
think about the eye and the ear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like think about like creating a conductive chain there, right? And it's like the sound, it will magnify, the ear will magnify sound, and the eye will focus light, right? So if I'm shooting, I'm not doing it, excuse me, but if they're sending visible light or sub-visible laser arrayed light directed energy weapons at you, and then also hitting you with ultrasound, you could see how all that could polarize your brain pretty easily, especially if you've got like a heavy plaque in that area because of the implants, the bioplaques in that area. So that's my point being, is that regardless of the implants being there, whatever side you're being targeted on, they're going to try to hit that ear and eye in tandem always. When you beat them the greater part of your body, they're going to focus on those areas. And how do they focus on those areas? With the nanowalkers. The nanowalkers crawl into your eye, behind your eye, into that nerve, into that part of the brain. They crawl into your ear, into that part of the brain, creating all these nano chains. That's how that works. That's why the nanowalkers, which are also called nanobots, is such imperative people understand that those are out there.
Okay. I have another question for you because I got on the call late. So I've had the nasal problems also and sinus problems.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, like in the winter, if I get congested or something, I'll do like what people do with the neti pot. I'll do like a saline wash. And it's very uncomfortable, but it works. What if I did like a hydrogen peroxide wash through the nasal passages where it goes up one and it comes out the other? Would
now,
that help?
If you want to know more about that, Gecko Pico. That's, oh, geez, I can't remember how to spell his first name, but it's on Substack.
Mm-hmm.
He's a survivor himself. He goes over that really well. And he's done...
You have to go food grade now. You know, there's a difference.
Mm-hmm. I have food grade.
I would say go to Gecko Pico on Substack and look at what he's posted about that. I think you should be able to search directly hydrogen peroxide Gecko Pico. It'll pop up.
I put baking soda in mine with my salt.
Does it help, Sandy?
I mean, I get the booger. Like what he's talking about, I get those dry white things, and I'm constantly picking them out. But it's the dry stuff. The neti, I mean, what the hell? It can't be any worse. I mean, it seems to be helping. It's not. It's gonna come back. I mean, we're breathing this stuff in.
Well,
if it helps you for the moment, yes, great.
And if you think about what Tina was just Gigi was just talking about, I was looking at your name, that's why I said that, Tina. What she was just talking about a second ago is how her eye and ear was being heavily targeted. This goes back to that greater point of they were going directly for her face because they couldn't get a latch on to her body. They couldn't get the heavy metal clumps in her body, so they were just sending all the resources to the face, the sinal cavities, the eye, the ear. Right? And I bet you the throat a little bit too. The upper part of the back of the mouth.
As a matter of fact, I had a sore throat, a minor sore throat, And something interesting too, internal mouth sores surface, like canker sores. And I have no reason to believe why they would, or I have no idea why they would occur. My mouth is clean, but that was just when they do that. Several times that has happened. So what I'll do is I'll take the food grade hydrogen peroxide and I'll gargle with it, or I'll do a borax. And I know this sounds crazy, but a borax mouthwash type of gargle. Not a lot of borax, but that seems to wipe it out right away.
Very good. And then also you can use the electric wire in a toothpick. And you can tongue spray.
Okay.
Yeah, you can tongue. For that, though, make sure that you get stainless steel and copper, because those are both okay to have in your mouth. And you
I have those now. Yeah, I have those now. I put those in a glass bottle, a Starbucks bottle, and I keep the cap on. And I've made a couple for another TI that lives about an hour from me, who's a shut-in stoke to help her with her pain and stuff. So she gets more than I do, but we're hopeful that works. But I'm going to do the toothpick now. I'll make some more tonight. I'll twist them up tonight and do a toothpick.
Can you repeat that, please? I'm sorry.
You're fine. You take stainless steel wire and copper wire and twist it together. What? Stainless steel wire and copper wire.
Yeah, it's very thin, right?
Well, you
can
get
it from where?
You can get it from any hardware store, but you get it like at 18 or 16 gauge, somewhere around there, both the copper and the stainless steel. And then you'll twist it together. It's best to use a drill to get it really tight, but you can do it with your hand or a pair of pliers. And that much copper and stainless steel will cost you like $20, $25, give or take, depending on how much you want to make. Because you can get the copper by the foot at the hardware store. And anyways, you get them both at like 18 gauge, something like that, and you twist it together, and you can wear that around your finger. You can put it in your mouth as like a toothpick. It alleviates tooth pain. You can use it to scrape your tongue. You can wear it around your midsection. I call it electric wire, and what it's doing is it's providing your body with a little bit of electricity, just the tiniest amount. And that tiniest amount will help or deactivate nanomachinery chains in your body, or clumps, right? Because the directed energy weapons are almost always interacting with clumps or chains of nanomachinery in the body. So when you use that little bit of electricity from twisting those two wires together tightly, it helps destabilize that. You can use that for lots of different things. We were talking about earlier, I don't know if you were here for that. Oh, you can't see anyways. But you can take that same wire and you can put it into the bottle. You did hear that. Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the bottle. Do you have it on your Substack or no?
It's on Substack, Rumble, and YouTube. And it's pretty much anything that's says electric wire in the title. That's what I'm calling it, is electrical, because it produces a little bit of electricity.
Yeah, okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I can't wait
welcome.
to see Tina's toothpick when she's done. She's going to have a fancy one.
Hey, to the Florida caller, go to YouTube under the DIY playlist, and you'll see it. It'll be like a 4-minute video. That's the easiest way to find it. Onionhead Andrew on YouTube, go to the playlist. It'll be DIY playlist. You'll see it. It'll be like the 12th video or something like that.
Hey, Andrew, when you were saying, just a quick checking on what you said you could put I'm sorry to talk so soon.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
When you say you can put the coil in your pocket, so it doesn't, the coil doesn't always have to have contact with your skin, then?
No, when you coil it, I'm glad you brought this up, because this is what I should have said earlier. When you coil it like that, it produces a more spatial field. Means it goes out farther. That's how those coils work in anything. There you'll see these coils in all these electronics. That's what they're doing. They're producing a electromagnetic field in the space around the coil.
So then the space around then means that it goes through your clothes and it does what it needs to around your body. So you don't have to have the contact with the coil. Always has to be in contact with your body.
Yeah, but the effect will be stronger always with contact, because your skin actually can carry a little bit of conductive charge too, naturally.
Okay.
That's a little bit longer explanation. Go ahead.
Well, awesome, because what you're saying then is it's an option when you need it. Let's say for some reason you can't have the coil or something touching you, you can still get some effect in your pocket with the coil.
Yeah, I like having the coils on me so that I can do lots of whatever with them. Like if I need a new frequency in that moment, there's this cup I keep holding right beside me. All I got to do is pop that coil of electric wire in the cup, and I've got a little machine I can use.
Andrew, I have another... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
So I have another question. So if I twist up some more copper and steel tonight and put it in a headband and wear this headband that covers my ears, could that help with the ear pressure and the ear pain and the eye pain if I wear it during the day?
It will definitely help you, but the bigger issue is that you've got so much plaque there and the activated implants. So it will help you though, for sure.
Okay, I got to work on getting rid of it. I'll work on getting rid of it.
It's like everything is aimed right at your face right now. Everything they got is going right at your face, or almost everything.
Yeah, me too. They aim at my head all day long.
Yeah, me right now. That's what they're doing, is they're going after my eyes and the side of my face right here. But that's just pretty standard. When you start denying them the body, they're just going to move more to the face, which is where you actually, it sounds like a bad thing, because it is, you're being attacked, but it's not as bad as the long chain going up your body and then getting to your face. The longer the chain is, the more electricity can be generated.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's like building up more of a piezoelectric effect. And the piezoelectric effect is when the sound is being turned into electricity, or electricity into sound. And when you've got enough material there that's doing this, you can have more of an electric effect or more of a vibration, right? Because that's what sound really is. It's a mechanical vibration. So what they do is when they have that long chain there, they try to pulsate it in a way where it vibrates and then turns into electricity, and then vibrates and then turns into electricity. That's why they use pulsed lasers, because the pulsing of that piezoelectric polymer, the bioplaque, creates a bigger effect, way bigger effect. So they'll try to as rapidly as possible pulse it when they have everything in place for it to create the biggest effect possible, which is more or less the worst situation for yourself. If you've got a chain going from your bottom of your left foot all the way to the top of your left side of your head, if you're right-handed, and they're pulsing it as fast as they can, you're laying down. You're not going to be able to move through that. The pain in your head is going to be extreme, which has happened to me very often. And I've got a very high pain tolerance, but it's just something that you really can't power through. You have to evaluate these things going on in your body. Go ahead, Sandy.
I said, oh yeah, me too. It's terrible. I mean, I'm so glad that we knocked out, you got me too. Well, just the work. Got that chain, because I used to get it all the way to my brain from my arm and my leg and my foot, and my brain would vibrate.
Yeah, I would literally spent like 2 years of my life being able only to walk for be standing upright for 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, having to keep my feet above my head just to survive.
But let me ask you this question. You feel it hit in your foot, and you feel it running all the way up through your body, right?
Well, so you only start feeling it when they can't use magnetic weapons. When they're using primarily, see, this is going to be too much for you, but this is the answer.
No, not for me. It won't be.
Okay, good. There's an EMF, electromagnetic field, consists of magnetism and electrostatic. It's those two working in tandem that create electricity. Okay? When everything's set up in your body, the implants, it's basically the long nanomachinery chain implants are there. They use a very predominant magnetic, a slower, more powerful pulse. Okay? So a higher amperage and a slower pulse. You cannot physically feel that. All right? But what it feels like to you, to your body, not the actual laser hitting you, but what it feels like when it interacts with the nanomachinery in your body is it feels like you're frantic. It feels like a slower, more nauseating pain. Now, you've probably been sleeping sometime, and you've been woken up with rapid vibrations, right? Has that ever happened to you? Okay. Rapid, that happens.
I count them. To try, to see how many beats I get per minute, to try to judge, what it is, But go ahead.
The rapid vibration is an electrostatic predominant directed energy weapon. Now, that's the same directed energy weapon, more or less. It's just one is a slower, longer pulse. The other one's a faster, sharper pulse. The faster, sharper pulse is electrostatic predominant. The slower, it doesn't really matter. The point I'm getting to is that when you start breaking up the nanomachinery, especially if you deactivate the implants, they no longer can use the magnetic stuff because it's too slow. They'll still do it every now and then. They'll still try with it, you know, but they'll switch more to a hybrid, more electrostatic, where you can feel it consistently. Okay, so like Sandy, Tina, a few people on the call that have spoke have been experiencing that. All right, what you're experiencing most likely is predominantly is that slower, more higher amperage magnetic array. Magnetic.
ELF is what you're saying, in the infrasound range.
No, that's two different ideas. But
okay, go ahead.
It doesn't really matter that much. The sound is utilized also in conjunction, but yeah. I wasn't even bringing that into the equation for this.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're talking about. You know, lately, you know, I've been trying to run for the last 4 or 5 months. And, you know, it's hard to live in a car. There's too much Wi-Fi. There's too much stuff flying around, you know, and it seems like after a day, the AI knows exactly, you know, what your situation is. I mean, it could figure it out quicker in there, but it makes it difficult on you, you know.
Yeah.
And I've been dealing with the things where I can't walk, I can't move, I can't drive 60 or 70 miles a day. That's not me. You know, feel my body is being electrocuted. You know, I don't know what that's from. You know.
Yeah. So go to the hardware store if you want and start making some of that electric wire. And then if you want, get yourself a stun gun and modify it. All of this stuff together will cost you less than $100. It'll cost you right about $100, $90, $100 somewhere
Right.
there. Yeah, it's not that expensive.
That's all on your Substack.
It's but the YouTube DIY playlist is easier to find. But yes, it's on the Substack too.
Okay, YouTube, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, YouTube, Onionhead Andrew, you're welcome.
Yeah, appreciate
it. You know, I was going to say too, and I mean this with all the love in my heart, and I mean, I had to learn it the hard way, but alcohol and wine was my getaway for this, and that will make the nano go crazy in your body. It makes it worse. I mean, I still have the days where I will drink too much, but you just have to remember that that's also going to add to all this damage that they're already doing to us.
Yeah, drinking is it speeds up the growth of nano in your body for sure. But many things do. It's the sugar, the acidity of it. So you can get, like, if you drink too much soda with lots of sugar and stuff, it'll have a similar effect. But alcohol is worse. I'm for everyone that wants, I'm posting my Substack right now in the comments. The chat, I mean. Okay, guys, we're nearing 3 hours. Was there anybody else wanted to get anything in? Lots of people here I haven't heard from. You could go ahead and speak. If you never spoke before, there's no issue with that.
Andrew, I have a question.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The orange glasses, do you wear those during the day? Like when you're driving, is it I get a lot of the blinking lights.
Yeah.
From the cars.
I wear it almost every time I'm driving, and I wear it when I'm being my eyes are being solely attacked and I can feel it.
What are the blinking lights? Mine are a lot of sorry, they're getting my throat really bad right now. And I got stung with something yesterday. What are the blinking lights and I see like...
They're another form of electromagnetic pulse. Light is an electromagnetic field. That's what light is. So when you see them rapidly blinking like that, it's an electromagnetic field that's being pulsed. And it's being pulsed to have more of an effect. The pulse is timed to have more of an effect with the nanomachinery. Okay? Do the people driving around, do they all know that? Some of them probably do. Most of them probably don't. But that's the truth. And the energy hits the eyes, which got the nano on them. It gets transmitted through those conductive pathways on the eyes and on the optical nerves back into that part of the brain, the front part of the brain. Because your eyes are like a gateway to that part of your brain.
Okay, and it's always the gigantic trucks behind me, and it's not always, sometimes I capture it with my phone. I can't always see it, with my bare eyes, but if I have my phone out, I've got these gigantic trucks behind me, but there's so many of them. So orange glasses, grab those.
Yep. And then the bigger idea is, of course, understanding the nanomachinery is in you and on you and is being accessed by directed energy weapons, making conductive pathways throughout your body. Because it's not just your eyes; it's just your eyes you notice when you're driving, but it's the rest of your body too, all the time.
Right. Right. I mean, I can feel it, all over my body. It's still kind of new to all of this, and the wires. You're saying 14 gauge. I need to go to the hardware store.
Yeah, 18, 16, 14, 12 gauge are all good gauges to use. Stainless steel and copper.
Stainless steel and copper. Okay. And I know you talk about like CCTV cameras. For any other ways to keep them out, especially at nighttime? I mean, they're getting in like every night.
You want to jam your door, and protect your food. If you can't secure your house, right, then try to at least secure your door. It's imperative that you at least secure your door. And if you're going to do that, try to, safeguard your food and everything if you know they're going to be getting access. The best way to keep them out is building, you see this fan spinning in the background? It's got copper on it that's twisted. When you twist that copper and then spin it, it creates a chemtrail buster effect for your local area. Now, I got 3 of these fans going all the time. That helps break up the chemtrail. It helps stop their ability to use invisibility cloaks. Now, that's not perfect. Yes, they use invisibility cloaks. They have for a very long time. That's how they're breaking in. It's been going on since the 80s, the invisibility cloak, early 80s, late 70s. I know that's really woo-woo, but it's just the truth. It's not what you think either. It's like active camouflaging would be a better way to think about it, these stealth suits. But if you install cameras but then you just to guard yourself at night, what it really comes down to is making sure you don't leave your house or your apartment unguarded, making sure there's someone always there. Now, that's too much for most people. I understand why, because they don't have people in their lives that trust them or that they live by themselves. But if you really want to guard yourself, that's what you got to do. If you can't do that, get used to securing. Look at everything in your life that you need secure while you sleep, right? And I think of like food being the biggest one outside of your body. And find a way to store that in your room. right? And really understand that they're going to be creeping around as best as you can understand that. They're going to be creeping around wearing cloaks. That's what they do. That's why they set up next to us, in houses and all that type of thing. If you understand that and you barricade yourself effectively, you jam your door effectively, you can do that with tape, slide blocks. You can do that with literally barricading, using a dresser if you don't have anything right now, but you want to go to sleep tonight and not worry about it. Barricading yourself there's no shame in it. It's something that I've done many, many times in many different places, and it works. It just works. They want access to your body at night for a variety of reasons, to inject you with chemicals, to knock you out, roofie you with those injected chemicals potentially, to rape you. They very much do that. That's a very standard operating procedure. This is human trafficking. And these people wearing cloaks are, most of the time, they're former military, and they would rape people overseas. They would rape people in different war zones and stuff like that. So when they came home, they got a similar job, doing these things to men and women, or women and men is how I meant to say that. But they do it, kids, they do it to anybody, okay? I mean that seriously. Block your body. If you've got kids, how do you protect your kids at night, right? But the biggest thing, if you want to keep them out of your house, you've got to always have someone there. There's no two ways about it. If you have someone there, then you can have cameras, and the cameras will work great. You aim the cameras at windows and doors from the side view, so that if anyone opens windows or doors, it'll show up on the camera. You put the DVR in places right next to where you sleep, so that if you wake up, you can directly look at the DVR, the monitor, and the recording right then. You get a dog, right? If the dog isn't good enough to guard on its own, it needs you there. But between you and the dog, if it's a little dog, even better, because they bark a lot. You don't need this dog to attack the person. You need this dog to bark, right? To be on alert, especially at night. And dogs are naturally alert at night. So if you can stay at home, if you can have someone always at home, getting a dog, getting camera system, putting up these chemtrail busters will make you more or less impervious. But you need to always be home, which is a far cry for most people. It's too hard for most people, a bridge too far. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, I think we lost her. Is there anybody else that wants to speak before we close down? We're at 3 hours and some change.
Just one question. Is there anywhere we shouldn't use the stun gun?
No, not really. Just be careful. Don't shock yourself.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
To the person that asked if I'm recording, yes, I'm still recording, but I can stop the recording if you have a question, if we're all done with everyone else. The recordings are good because it allows people to not be here to watch and learn too. And there's a lot of people out there that aren't here that should be, that I'm in contact with, that very much do want to, experience what you guys' questions and all that. Anybody else? Okay, with that being said, thank you so much for all being here. May God bless us and continue to have mercy on us.
Tweet, tweet, tweet. Tweet, 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 tweet. Ooh, 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 ooh.